This trash loser wasted his prime years gooning over goth baddies like it was a full-time job. But when life finally handed him a real shotty, RNGesus said, "Nah, hold this L instead of the Gluck 3000. My man got speedran straight into reincarnation, except not as a cool swordsman, not a demon lord, not even a slime. Nope. Man respawned as one of the worst gacha pulls in manga history, a discount goldfish. Now he's stuck fighting off the ocean's nightmare fuel just to climb his way back up to finally meet his dream baddie. It all begins at Liantian, where a boy is sitting on a bench looking like he's having a post-nut clarity moment. Suddenly, he notices a strange red crackle in the sky that, to everyone's shock, turns into a massive monster and starts wreaking havoc on the city. Everyone's running for their lives while our nutty boy, with 200 brain ping, realizes a little too late that it's a disaster-level monster spreading death and despair. Despite his side chick calling him, our boy is locked in on that monster. He knows he can't die here. It's the day he was finally going to see his girlfriend after 3 years of gooning over Instagram baddies. But the monster doesn't give a frick and blasts the boy to crisps. In his final moments, he lies charred on the shore, regretting not seeing his girlfriend, while something slips from his hand into the water. It all began a while back when aliens invaded Earth. At first, they were just rumors, but in 1934, a giant-ass dragon fell into the north of Dongguan Sea, but the body mysteriously vanished. Then in 1947, giant crabs showed up, but this time there were way more witnesses and casualties. Then a few years ago, a giant sea monster appeared alongside a blood-red moon, but just like before, they all vanished the next day. Now discussing this beside the seaside, two dudes are shocked that the ancient city of Liantian just got annihilated by such monsters, and they're thinking they should dip too before they're next. Their loud chatter disrupts a fish sleeping nearby in the water. As it comes to consciousness, the fish notices its fins and is shocked to realize it's turned into a koi. It's the same guy from before, now transformed into a tiny little fish. Looking into a nearby mirror, the boy recalls his death by that monster and even remembers his side chick, so he decides to swim around and check things out. Just then, as he's wondering about the limits of his new fish form, he freezes, spotting the reflection of sea crabs coming straight for his ass. The boy manages to dodge them for a few seconds, but luckily there's always a bigger fish in the sea. The predators start munching on each other one by one while the boy hides inside a nearby tin can. Now he realizes it's pretty tough to survive here since the ocean is basically predator central. Just as he's thinking this, a system window pops up, notifying him that his leveling system has successfully activated. With that, a Genshin Impact mommy summons herself, instantly consuming the boy's attention. As he's still processing what's happening, she scoops him up and takes him to shallow waters, way safer than the nightmare zone he was in before. When he asks what's going on, the mommy reveals she is his system and quickly shows him his stats. The boy's name is Lin Hao, and he's basically a trash, low-level black koi right now. Without wasting time, Lin asks how he can level up. According to mommy, he needs to start eating. He quickly notices a breadcrumb and gains 0.1 evolution points after eating it. With this, Lin realizes it ain't much. But hey, it's honest work. After a while, the boy, exhausted from a whole day of devouring, dozes off on a rock. But a sudden system notification jolts him awake. It tells him he's earned 5 evolution points. He also notices the system's mermaid mommy watching him and sighs in disappointment like, bruh, all that effort for such a tiny gain? Totally unfair. Just then, he spots more breadcrumbs drifting down into the water. Someone above is tossing food in. Without wasting a second, he rushes over and eats them all, earning 0.5 evolution points. But then it hits him. Who the heck is out here feeding fish this late at night? Curiosity takes over, so he swims up to check. She'll find him again. Meanwhile, Lin is staring at the sinking watch. To his shock, the photo inside shows him and his shorty. Realizing what this means, he panics, wondering what if his girl does something reckless. With that thought, he starts swimming toward the surface, calling out for his side piece, but to his bad luck, she's already gone. This breaks the boy down in tears, realizing he can't do she if he can't even talk. Suddenly, he remembers the watch, but quickly realizes it's fallen into the nightmare depths. Even though he knows it was their keepsake, the boy can't do anything about it since his levels are still trash. This pisses him off even more. They keep missing each other. Fueled by pure determination to meet her again, he starts taking down smaller fish, leveling up fast. The mermaid mommy notices his willpower and is impressed. Suddenly, the boy gets a notification. The evolution screen pops up, telling him he's earned enough points to evolve and asking if he wants to do it right now. Without hesitation, he accepts. A sudden surge of power hits him, and as he opens his eyes, he's shocked to see Mommy Melon staring right at him. It's the mermaid mommy, looking confused about why his leveling took so long. However, despite that, Lin now feels stronger and bigger. But since he's still just a fish, his main lever is still tiny. He quickly checks his stats, which reveal he's now level 3 and has gained 2 new skills. The mermaid points out that one skill gives him a 10-second cooldown spell that makes his scales pretty sturdy. Impressed and wanting to test it out, he whips his tail at some nearby predators. It works, and using a combo of both skills, he even manages to fend off a large predator fish. Just then, he receives a quest with two options: a normal one that requires him to devour 100 shrimps, and a difficult one where he has to take down a mutated creature. Curious, Lin asks if all this hunting actually has a point or an end goal. To this, Mommy hints at rewards far greater than just the quests. When Lin presses further, she even mentions the possibility of him becoming human again. Hearing that, Lin makes up his mind that he's going to get the wash back. With determination, he rushes toward the deep sea. As he spots it and sneaks closer, he suddenly gets shocked realizing there's a massive monster eel resting right beside it. The sight terrifies him as it feels just like the encounter he had back in Lianqian City. As he falls into despair, Mommy Mermaid drags him back. While being pulled along, our boy feels hopeless, remembering the good old times with his shorty. He recalls when she cooked him noodles and showed him love, but now she's nowhere to be seen. Lost in his thoughts, Mommy points it out, but he brushes it off as nothing. Seeing through him, Mommy summons a bubble and tells Lin to work harder for what he desires. And since the only thing he desires is his shorty, our boy gets motivated again. Back to hunting, Lin is surprised to find big snails. But when he tries to eat them, he can't even chew through as the shells are way too hard. It's frustrating, but then he remembers the giant eel guarding the pocket watch and wonders how long it'll take for his next evolution. Meanwhile, somewhere else near the shore in Dongchuan City, Lu, Lin's girlfriend, arrives in a military jeep. Outside on the shore, Lu's companion is shocked to see a massive monster dragon washed up. The scientists are equally confused, but Lu jumps out, shouting at them to evacuate and keep their distance as the monster could explode at any time. She reminds them of that washed-up chat's mom incident where the body exploded on the shore. She knows it was from putrid gas caused by decomposition, but also that it was one of the deadliest bioweapons in the world. Putting on surgical gloves and a mask, she orders her men and the scientists to prepare a ventilation pipe. Saying this, she slits the monster's skin and inserts a testing pipe inside its body. However, to their shock, the readings start coming back with errors. Hearing that, Lu panics and orders everyone to run. They barely make it a few steps away before the monster suddenly explodes, sending blood splattering everywhere. Back in the water, our boy is still busy munching on crunchy shrimp. Despite them giving low evolution points, they're still better than the tiny fish and help him finish his quest. As the system window pops up confirming quest completion, it also gives him a normal treasure chest as a reward. The mermaid mommy, seeing this, is shocked, and with his approval, she opens the treasure chest for him. To Lin's surprise, he gets multiple enhancements to choose from, and he goes for razor-sharp teeth. The moment he picks it, Mommy urges him to show her, since all these perks are random, even as the system. She's excited to see the outcome. As the reward applies, Lin starts feeling super itchy in his mouth, and to his shock, he accidentally bites into a snail shell and manages to crush it in a single chomp. After that, he asks for Mommy's opinion, but she has no say in it. So he starts taking down the nearby fish and quickly realizes that the taste is awful. Thinking about the mutated creatures, he wonders if they're even in this water or if the quests are just generated randomly. Despite being in the system, Mommy is clueless, which makes Lin wonder if those creatures are really in the same waters, and maybe even like the monster that killed him. As he's lost in thought, he suddenly feels eyes on him. But when he looks back, no one's there. While he's still processing it, two guys suddenly release tons of pleco fish into the water. Lin notices them, but before he can question what's going on, something big flashes past him. It's the monster eel charging straight toward the pleco fish. Seeing that, Lin's system starts blaring warnings of high danger levels, urging him to prepare for a fight. As the eel dives in, Lin sees it as the perfect opportunity to take down his target. The eel now has an equal contender in the swarm of pleco fish, and while they're fighting, Lin knows he can swoop in as the sneaky third party. While watching, he notices a small pleco fish sneaking up behind him and quickly munches it down. Despite it being tough to swallow, Lin is shocked to see it's worth 10 evolution points, which seems like a solid deal. But while Lin is busy feasting, the gigantic eel finishes off the last pleco and finally locks its monstrous eyes on him. Lin tries to keep calm, but notices an open wound on the eel's body. As the eel lunges for him, he dodges and hides among some nearby rocks. Annoyed, the eel starts pounding on the rocks, trying to flush him out, while Lin hopes it'll just lose interest and go hunt something else. Still, that strange, uneasy feeling lingers in him. But as the pounding doesn't stop, Lin realizes he needs to act before he's crushed to death. He makes a desperate dash for his life, but to his bad luck, the eel snags him with its tongue in a snap. Struggling, Lin realizes this might be GG for him. And in one last desperate attempt, he unleashes his offensive skill while thinking of his shorty waiting for him. Meanwhile, on the shore, his shorty barely manages to escape the blast, protected by her simp assistant shielding her from the falling debris. As the things settle, she thanks him only to freeze in shock when she notices that the monster left behind eggs scattered everywhere. She quickly orders weapons and reinforcements, declaring that they can't let those things crawl back into the ocean. As the military team arrives, they all start blasting away at the eggs. While the pew-pew is going on, the Gooner companion keeps glazing Lu for her smarts and athleticism. Meanwhile, back inside the eel's stomach, Lin uses his head crystals to see around. He knows he needs to get out fast if he wants to survive, and then he remembers the injury he saw on the creature's back. The problem is, he needs to find that wound quickly, otherwise he's about to get digested into fish soup. Luckily, Lin feels a bit confident thanks to his skills, and before long he finds the wound. But to his surprise, it's already healing because the eel's been munching on veggies. Pinpointing the exact spot, Lin activates his hardened scales spell and charges straight at it. With that, he manages to tear his way out of the monster's body, leaving the eel screaming in pain as it retreats back into the depths. Looking back, Lin realizes that if it hadn't worked, he would have turned into eel poop by now. Now catching his breath, he asks Mommy if there's some kind of portal in the depths, since all these giant creatures keep coming from there. But she doesn't know either. Leaving the mystery for later, Lin focuses back on the leftover smaller plecos and quickly wipes them out. Despite them tasting awful, Lin manages to rack up enough points for his next evolution and accepts it. Checking his status, he sees he's now level 4, with new skills and even a passive divine power. Mommy is just as surprised by the evolution perks, and to test them out, Lin starts biting metal and other hard stuff like it's nothing. Even with that powerful passive, Lin feels a little down. He's still tiny compared to that massive eel. Suddenly, the system updates his quests, adding a couple of new normal ones while keeping the same difficult one. Reading through them, Lin chooses the 100 pleco quest, but while devouring them, he's shocked to stumble across an empty pleco shell with a strange worm inside. As he stares at it, one of the worms suddenly zips out, attacks another fish nearby, and latches onto its eye, taking it down instantly. Seeing that, Lin is left in disbelief. It really looks like the worm is eating the fish's brain. Curious, he asks Mommy if he can eat it, but she just tells him to try. However, just as Lin goes in to bite it down, the worm slips away, making him annoyed. This makes him wonder if that thing came from the deep waters, since it definitely didn't look casual. Lin also knows that even in these so-called safe shallow waters, he's barely surviving, so heading into the depths would be way too risky for now. Noticing him lost in thought, Mommy pokes him back to reality and he resumes hunting for leveling up so he can eventually retrieve the locket. Meanwhile, on the shore, a mysterious ship has washed up. There's a body on it, but the way he died looks strange. After investigating, the police question the lone survivor. According to him, they were attacked and killed by loach fish. The cops don't really believe him, but the terrified guy pleads with them, insisting it was the loaches that bit his friends apart, and he was just too scared to react. However, the police noticed something odd, that earlier he mentioned multiple victims, but they only found one boy on the boat. This realization breaks him completely. In disbelief, he starts screaming like a madman, yelling that the cops didn't listen, that they actually took that thing home with them. His fear is so real that the police, unsettled, decide to escalate it. They contact the Dragon Group, since this seems like it's in their jurisdiction. Soon after, Lu, the investigator for the group, arrives only to find an empty loach shell. She asks the survivor where they found it, to which he mentions the restricted area by the coast. She then questions him about the missing bodies, and the police explain they're still under investigation after finding a blood trail leading into the ocean. Hearing this, Lu deduces that the mutated creature from the other day might have been infested by that loach, since his body was filled with eggs. She quickly calls her assistant, informing him that the cocoon they were after might already be in the city, and orders the search to begin immediately. She then tells the survivor to take her to the lake where it all went down. Meanwhile, in the shallow waters, Lin is finally done eating after devouring a ton of plecos. When Mommy questions him about why he's eating so many, Lin points out that they're invasive species, so technically he's helping the shallow water zone by wiping them out. Just then, he checks his evolution status and sees it's ready to evolve. Looking over at his skills, he gets confused about one and wonders what effect improving fortune could even have. He also checks his quests and realizes, as expected, they reset every day. Now instead of just one, it says he needs to devour 10 mutated creatures. The only problem is that, where the heck is he supposed to find those? Thinking about it, he recalls the sea loaches he saw earlier and gets confused about what they were even doing there. He wonders if maybe they got mixed up with the plecos. For the time being, he brushes off the thought and gets back to leveling up. As he accepts the evolution, his status shows he's now level 7, and his divine powers have increased to level 3. He also gains a camouflage skill that basically lets him, well, camouflage with stuff around him. To test it out, he starts swimming with other fishes and realizes his divine power passive, which mentioned elevating others in an area of effect, is actually some kind of buffing aura. While the fishes are swimming in circles outside, a little girl gets excited and points it out to her mother. But then she notices the lockdown going on, with announcements asking all non-officials to leave the area. The army surrounds the pond and tosses round detection devices into the water. As they sink, Lin gets confused watching them, but when he sees them glowing, he realizes someone might be searching for something. To his shock, the lights suddenly turn red. Outside, the scientists' computers start blaring warnings of a mutated creature detected. Lin also gets the same warning that he's been discovered. Without wasting time, specialized divers in full diving suits and armed with harpoons start jumping into the pond. This immediately triggers another warning, revealing that Lin has now been marked as a mutant and should leave at once. Noticing both the warning and the divers closing in, Lin, despite fully knowing the dangers of the deep waters, decides to dive in rather than die standing there. As he sinks deeper, he's surprised to find that it isn't as bad as he expected. The system, however, urges him to go even deeper, but Lin refuses, wondering why his system mommy was suddenly acting so hostile toward him. Instead, the system pushes him toward hunting since apparently they were already waiting. Lin then spots the same freaky little fishes from earlier devouring a much larger one right before his eyes. The sight gives him goosebumps, but it also sparks an idea. Using his stealth spell, he makes a sneak attack. To his relief, it actually works, and he manages to take a piece down. To his complete shock, that single kill instantly completes his quest of hunting 10 mutant creatures. As a reward, he receives a designated task reward chest, which contains the black iron scales skill. Without warning, his scales begin to transform into iron. Despite the uncomfortable sensation, Lin is thrilled as this is his very first transformation. The skill itself might not be the strongest, but he knows it'll be a solid boost to his defense. Just as he's soaking in this victory, a sudden eerie feeling creeps over him, the sense of a gaze locked onto his back. Turning around, Lin spots the massive eel monster from earlier, slithering out of hiding and charging straight toward him. Without hesitation, he bolts while the system's warnings flash, claiming the opponent is slightly stronger than him. But hearing it's only a slight advantage, Lin decides to stand his ground. If this eel wants a fight, then fine. He'll show him the real Chad of the depth is. As the monster charges with its mouth wide open, Lin instantly activates his iron scales skill. The eel bites down, but recoils in pain as its sharp teeth snap apart against the iron-like surface. Realizing its fangs are broken, Lin seizes the opening and slams his tail straight into its face, hitting hard enough to leave a visible bump. Despite the blow, the eel doesn't back down and lunges again. Lin dodges and counters with a vicious bite. As the monster prepares another strike, Lin braces with iron scales once more. This time, the eel hesitates and quickly tries to retreat. But Lin isn't about to let it escape so easily, so he clings to its body, sinks his teeth in deep, and rips away a chunk of flesh, making the monster scream in agony. In desperation, the eel attempts to coil its tongue around him, but Lin's strengthened body is too much. With raw force, he pushes his way inside its mouth, tearing through its insides like a raging beast. Moments later, he bursts out of the monster's body like a cannonball, leaving the massive eel collapsing lifelessly in the water. A notification window pops up announcing that he has slain the mutant red dot brocade snake. Lin barely notices, too busy tearing into the eel's flesh, determined to claim every bit of what's his. Another notification quickly follows, revealing he has gained 500 evolution points from consuming the mutant meat. The sheer amount stuns him, until the system mommy explains it's because he has taken down a creature above his level, granting him unexpected gains. Before he can even process it, the mommy touches his crystal, which suddenly lights up as powerful energy surges through his body. His vision blurs and his senses spin, and when he finally opens his eyes, he is stunned to find that he is no longer in his fish form but standing in a muscular human body completely naked. Looking down at his hands, Lin realizes with shock that he is truly in his human form. Overcome with excitement, he grabs hold of the mommy, only for her to inform him that the transformation is only temporary. She explains further that, at his core, he remains a fish. This body grants him no combat abilities and allows him to speak only with her. Despite these limitations, Lin wonders if he can finally step ashore. The system confirms that he can, but she also warns that he looks like someone straight out of a Tarzan film set, and without proper clothing, he risks being arrested for indecent exposure. Clad in nothing but seaweed underwear, Lin cautiously peers out of the pond and spots a small storage room nearby, an area rarely visited, used for unclaimed or lost items. Seeing an opportunity, he slips inside, scavenges for clothes, and dresses himself. Keeping the pocket watch with him, he emerges looking like an oddly dressed delivery man. As he makes his way forward, Lin runs into military personnel stationed near the pond. The guards immediately shout at him for disobeying evacuation orders. At that moment, Lin notices Lu's assistant speaking with the soldiers on the phone, attempting to get permission for the head of the research team, Lu, to enter after forgetting her ID. Hearing her name, Lin realizes this must be his shorty and instinctively tries to rush toward the assistant. The guards, however, restrain him while the assistant catches sight of him and grows curious about how he managed to appear in such a heavily restricted area. As Lin points toward the pocket watch in his hand, the guard quickly realizes he cannot speak. Noticing this, Lu's assistant takes the watch, at first wondering if it was meant for him. However, upon opening it, he discovers that it belongs to team leader Luo. Though puzzled by the gesture, the assistant does not recognize Lin's face and instead asks if he knows her. With no response forthcoming, he assures Lin that he will deliver it to Lu himself, then orders Lin to head home. Before Lin can act, Lu herself arrives at the site, requesting updates on the evacuation orders. Seeing her, Lin instinctively lowers the brim of his cap, aware that he cannot speak and uncertain of when his temporary form might vanish. As the discussion continues, the assistant hands Lu the pocket watch. When she looks inside, the girl is shaken in disbelief. When she hurriedly asks who gave it to him, the assistant points behind him, only to find that Lin has already disappeared. Left with no explanation, he assumes the stranger was merely a passing tourist and decides to resume his duties. Outwardly, the team moves on, but inwardly Lu cannot ignore the possibility that the man was Lin, that he might still be alive. Meanwhile, hidden in the bushes some distance away, Lin watches everything unfold. He silently promises himself that one day he will explain everything to her. At that very moment, the system window flashes a warning that his transformation spell is about to end. Forced to act quickly, he strips off the borrowed clothes and plunges back into the water. The experience leaves him unsettled. If he can assume human form, then perhaps he can also transform into other creatures. Remembering the monstrous being that killed him once before, Lin seals himself with a single resolve that he must grow stronger, train harder, and uncover the truth about the nightmare that has been tormenting him. Meanwhile, at the city's research center tower, Lu submits an application form that immediately draws the attention of senior researcher Zhang. Concerned, Zhang urges her to reconsider, warning that the injection of the experimental virus carries enormous risks. As a researcher, she does not need to put herself through such danger. But Lu remains firm. She insists that she has already thought it through. Her true desire is to transfer to the action team. Zhang, however, knows she's doing it for Lin and reminds her that the world is facing a disaster-level threat, so it's not the time for personal feelings. According to her, though, it's not just about that femboy. She wants to join the action team to gain new breakthroughs in researching mutated creatures, since her current team always arrives late on the scene. Despite being unsatisfied, Zhang eventually agrees. Meanwhile, back in the waters, Lin is bored out of his mind and decides to head into deeper waters since he can't spot anything worth eating nearby. Mommy, however, urges him to reconsider, warning that it could be really dangerous because of unknown creatures lurking below. Lin agrees with that logic, but instantly dives into the depths anyway, convinced that he won't know unless he tries. Besides, if things go south, he can always just run for it. In the unexplored depths of the lake lies a hidden world. A dark tunnel divides two distinct realms, and outside, countless strange creatures lurk with glowing red eyes. Lin hides behind a rock, shielding himself with a leaf while chewing on a crab leg. Though tempted to explore, he chooses caution, calling in a strategic retreat. Suddenly, the system notifies him of enough evolution points to advance. He accepts, and his body glimmers with light, scales shining, eyes glowing. The transformation grants him night vision, and new stats appear. His race is still Black Koi, but now at level 8. 1.5 meters long, 101 pounds, with skills like camouflage, flame scales, powerful bite, and tail whip. His evolution also unlocks a map of the surrounding world, including the city, rivers, and a waterfall near a chemical plant. He doubts its usefulness, but discovers he can teleport for 1 hour daily. At first he hesitates, but realizing it can't hurt much, he eventually activates it. As soon as he does, his body starts transforming into glowing pixels, which get absorbed into the map, and in the next moment, he appears at a new location. Excited, Lin explores his new surroundings. Schools of fish swim nearby, turning the place into an all-you-can-eat feast. He takes down everything he sees as an easy win, and while munching on grass carp, he's surprised to see 90 evolution points gained. That's more than what he gets from scavenger fish, basically equal to 3 of them. This makes him realize how crappy his life in the city was, where every day it was either snails or scavenger fish, but here it feels like paradise. However, with everything good, there's always a catch, and suddenly a massive snake-like being slithers behind him. Lin notices it and quickly wonders if it's a snake or something else. As the creature starts hunting, he catches a glimpse of its face, and to his shock, it's a catfish. Not just any catfish, but one that's 2 meters long. That alone is strange, but even stranger is the fact that the system gave no warning sound. This makes Lin realize the creature might have the same combat level as him, or maybe even weaker. So whatever mutated thing it is, he decides it's worth going after. Maybe he can even level up directly. Lin seizes the chance for a feast, lunging to attack. Yet his teeth slide off the catfish's slippery skin. The creature retaliates with a tail strike, knocking him back. The blow barely hurts, and Lin, undeterred, activates his fire scales and charges straight in like a maniac. Lin's body starts crackling with electricity and fire as he strikes the giant catfish, slamming it to the lake bed. The creature retaliates with a bite, but its mouth ignites, forcing it to retreat. Lin presses the attack and drives it back, yet before he can finish the fight, his teleport duration expires. As he fades, his eyes catch a terrifying sight of a bloodshot eye and a white figure with glowing red eyes, standing in a desolate forest. The vision reminds him of the monstrous being from Lion Tian, and a deep unease fills him realizing that the city might be in danger again. Before he can act, he's pulled back to the city lake, still reeling from that disgusting feeling. The image of the white figure and the bloodshot eye burns in his mind. He knows he cannot mistake that presence, as something about it feels far too familiar. Hearing this, Mommy advises him to go back and take another look. But the question is how he can return. With a casual motion, she creates two glowing bubbles before him, one showing his human form, the other his fish form. The choice is clear. Wait until tomorrow to teleport and hope for another chance, or swim now toward the river 5 kilometers away, though his strength will not last, and he will turn back into a carp long before reaching it. As the memory of the creature drives him, he chooses without hesitation, touching the bubble of his human form. Doing that, he swims toward the surface where he finds Lu with her assistant, talking about her leaving. According to her, she'll head out the next day after wrapping everything up. Lin, overhearing that, is confused. Meanwhile, her assistant claims he already knew she wasn't the type to just sit around dissecting mutated creatures in the lab. She admits she was excited when first invited by the team, feeling a sense of purpose from them. But after learning the secrets, her intentions changed. The assistant, lighting a cigarette, argues that while the mutated creatures might pose a huge threat to public safety, the GT virus they carry might not be entirely useless. Lu agrees, pointing out that action team members are injected with it to enhance their strength and abilities, and if they want to break limits, they just increase the dose. With that, the guy respectfully says his goodbye, hoping to see her safe, to which she replies that she will be, since someone is waiting for her. As they bid farewell, Lin also leaves and, taking his human form, goes on a stealth mission. While running through the woods, he recalls Lu talking about joining the dragon team to research mutated creatures, and now they were about to embark on a dangerous mission. Realizing this, Lin wonders if he too carries that virus, but his system mommy just updates him that he's got 40 minutes left in his human form. Hearing that, Lin picks up the pace and eventually reaches the water. He takes a moment to catch his breath, realizing it took way too long, then jumps straight in, transforming back into his fish form. There, he starts devouring different adult fishes, gaining evolution points left and right. Soon the fish around him vanish, which makes him realize there might be a bigger predator nearby. Suddenly, he notices the water turning murky, and as he's about to check it out, the large catfish from before tries to bite him down. Lin escapes his jaws by inches, but immediately feels the dark killing intent from that fish, realizing something is definitely wrong with it. Thinking it might be holding some kind of grudge against him, he loads up his spell and charges straight at it head-on. Getting close, Lin unleashes his tail slash and smacks it right in the face with a powerful strike. The hit disorients the big guy, and seizing the chance, Lin bites into its body with his powerful jaws. He eventually manages to tear into its flesh, making the fish scream in pain. Chewing on the pieces, Lin realizes it actually tastes pretty good and wonders if it would have been easier to take it down without all that slime on it. He's also confused about why it got so aggressive so quickly and how many points he's going to get from it. After going full mukbang mode, Lin racks up a fat 3,000 evolution points, levels up to 9, and upgrades into a fire scale black koi. Just as he's getting excited about it, he hears some people on the surface talking about electrocuting fish. Curious, Lin swims up and notices 3 shady-looking dudes setting up for electrofishing to get an easy catch. Lin finds a pretty filthy way to hunt, but as he's observing them, the guys suddenly notice him. They get hyped seeing such a big fish, but to their horror, Lin leaps at them with his mouth wide open. Terrified for life, the guys drop everything and run. That's when Mommy points out that by doing that, he just drew even more attention to himself, and now Dragon Team might be onto him at any moment. Hearing that, Lin suddenly gets really worried. At the police station, the 3 shady dudes are explaining what happened. Of course, they're exaggerating the size of the fish and how it attacked, while the officers are struggling to hold back their laughter. The cops ask if the guys have been drinking, but they deny it, insisting they were totally sober while fishing. But then, when the police bring up that they were illegally fishing during a closed season, all 3 of them suddenly fall silent and start stammering. Nervous and embarrassed, they make a quick excuse and bolt out of the station. Left behind, one of the officers points out that maybe those guys weren't completely lying, since just a few days ago they actually received a document. The officers decide to report anyway, figuring it's better to be safe than sorry. Meanwhile, back in the water, Lin is annoyed after searching all night and still not finding that monster he saw. Just then, he remembers his task reward and opens up his quest panel. Excited to see it's basically an all-you-can-eat buffet of quests. To his surprise, all the tasks are already completed, thanks to those shady dudes and their electrofishing. Now that Lin has met the evolution conditions, the system window pops up asking for confirmation. Wasting no time, our boy accepts it, and as he's hit level 10. He also gets to open the quest reward chest. From the skills, he chooses Sharp Horn, and suddenly, feeling an itch in his forehead crystal, he sprouts a mystical horn. It feels kinda weird to him that a koi just grew a horn, but he's hyped to see it sharp and fast, something that could definitely pack a punch. With that, he decides to test it out tomorrow in the cold waters. Meanwhile, inside the driving team's conference room, all the officials are gathered for a tense meeting. Lou's assistant briefs the heads, confirming they've locked down the target's location and promising that next time, they'll secure it. On video call, the chief of the organization stresses the urgency, reminding everyone that with such a dense population in the city, things could spiral out of control if they don't act fast. The assistant assures him the Dragon team will give it their all. But just as the meeting is about to end, the chief shares something unsettling. A massive catfish carcass recovered from the cold water level. Its skeletal structure is nothing like a normal fish, with bizarrely mutated teeth and warped bones. The room starts buzzing with panic, but Lou steps closer to the screen for a better look. Studying the bones, she deduces that it's most likely a GT virus-evolved fish, and if that's the case, then there must be an even stronger creature that hunted it down. This realization spreads more panic as they wonder just how big of a monster is lurking in the waters and what it's doing so close to the city. At that moment, an executive leans in and whispers some new info to Lou's assistant. As Lou continues explaining, the assistant adds that the police just reported 3 men claiming to have seen a koi fish bigger than a human. With that, the Dragon team immediately sets their next target, the unknown mutated koi fish. The next morning, Lin sets his sights on a wild boar, ready to test out his shiny new horn with a one-hit KO. Moving quietly from the water, he lunges forward and lands a clean stab right into the boar's head. The beast thrashes and screams, but eventually collapses. Seeing that, Lin is excited, until he realizes his horn is stuck in the skull. After some struggle, he pulls it free, making a mental note about the importance of growing actual limbs. Still, a win's a win, and he can't help but feel proud of that single strike. System Mommy, ever the advisor, suggests he switch into his human form to get those limbs he wants. Lin agrees, but insists he needs them in battle form, not just for show. Carrying the boar back to the water, Mommy points out how natural he's become in his fish body, and Lin has to admit it doesn't even feel that strange anymore. When it comes time to eat, the fur turns him off at first, but after cleaning it, he digs in. To his surprise, the chewy boar meat isn't bad at all. The system rewards him with 350 evolution points, not much, but still progress. Lin's just happy as never in his life did he think he'd be eating boar like this. With that, he decides to teleport back to this place tomorrow, as it is perfect for quick leveling. He then teleports back to the pond and swims toward the shallows. There he spots a crab minding its own business. Feeling a little cocky, Lin decides it's time to show the poor thing who's boss. He easily takes it down, but notices fish grouping up at the surface and realizes the lockdown might be over. To check, he sneaks up and overhears some tourists talking about the blast in the East District and rumors of a monster. Lin wonders if it's the same one he saw in the cold river and asks Mommy if there are also land-based creatures. According to her, anyone affected by the virus can mutate, and that makes Lin realize he could too. But Mommy, with her loving eyes, assures him that he's different from the rest because he has her. This flusters Lin, but he quickly changes the topic, asking if he'll get the chance to eat the mutant monster before the Dragon team hunts it down. Just the thought of it makes him goon. However, Mommy shakes him out of his gooming and urges him to get back to work. Lin realizes he's becoming just like a corporate slave, even though he doesn't even have a boss. After grinding for a while, he unlocks a new teleportation area, which also extends his stay time by 30 minutes. Now he can explore more waters, and with that, more fish. To him, it feels exactly like unlocking new maps in a game, and he wonders what other evolutions might be waiting. Thinking about it, he uses the map and teleports to a slimy swamp near a chemical plant. Lin feels grossed out by the place, but suddenly overhears 2 individuals talking about something called ET and how they need to grab it before the Dragon team does. Lin instantly realizes these guys must be Dragon team's enemies, since Dragon team is supposed to be a national secret organization. To get more insight, Lin uses his stealth spell and swims closer, wondering if there's another organization besides the Dragon team. As he gets near, he notices the 2 dudes carrying long boxes on their backs, probably guns. The guys keep talking about something they're looking for in Dongchuan that can awaken an ancient creature. They also mention ancient civilization relics hidden in the city. Hearing that, Lin is shocked, like, wait, Dongchuan has ancient creatures too. These guys want to get their hands on those relics and use the advanced equipment from them to become the strongest when disaster strikes. One of them tells the other to keep his voice down, but the other brushes it off, saying no one's around in this swamp. Little do they know, Ko Goldberg is lurking just a few feet away. As they are about to leave, they claim they'll kill anyone who gets in their way. With that, Lin realizes these guys are definitely the bad guys, especially since they're strapped with guns. Meanwhile, one of them hears news on his earpiece and orders the other to get ready since Dragon Team has already narrowed down the target. Mocking the Dragon team as just a bunch of kids, they also mentioned bringing out a number 3 suit. This number 3 suit really makes Lin curious, but to his shock, the guys suddenly receive a warning that they've been discovered. Lin quickly ducks down before they can even notice him. Inside, he realizes their watches might actually be mutated creature detectors, which honestly seem way more convenient than Dragon Team's giant clunky gear. The guys now on edge wonder if a mutated creature is nearby. To test it, they open one of the boxes and pull out a massive sword oozing with dark energy. Without hesitation, one of them slashes it into the water, sending waves splashing everywhere. Even though Lin is underwater, the force tosses him out, making him realize just how insanely strong the presence is. The guys spot Lin flying out and immediately recognize him as a mutated creature. Getting exposed, Lin bolts while the guys chase after him, hyped up at the thought that his big mutated body might be carrying the infamous GT virus. As the guys keep chasing, they're shocked that this fish actually knows how to run away, like it's got some kind of intelligence. Meanwhile, Lin also realizes these dudes aren't ordinary. Carrying those heavy boxes and still keeping up is no joke. To speed up, Lin uses his tail splash and manages to put some distance between them. Eventually, he loses them and reminds himself he doesn't really need to be nervous, since worst case, he can always teleport away if they catch him. With that, he gets back to hunting, but he's still thinking about those guys and how they probably aren't from Dragon Team. He brushes it off for now, since his main goal is gaining evolution points. Running low on time, he rushes around taking out Telepia left and right. But even after all that grinding, he doesn't see much of a change in his status, though at least the fish here are giving him pretty high evolution points. After munching them all down, he checks his quest panel and sees 4 tasks waiting. Most of them are easy, but the tough one really stands out. He needs to find 10 mutated creatures. Deciding to ignore it for now, he focuses on leveling up instead. As he munches more, his teleportation time increases to 2 hours, and his map exploration area also expands. Things are going pretty nicely, so Lin decides to keep farming, but then he notices the surrounding fish suddenly fleeing. Something's off. And that's when he spots a person in a full-on warrior suit charging straight at him with a sword drawn. Lin recognizes the sword from those 2 dudes earlier, and while he's still processing it, the guy suddenly slashes at him. Lin barely manages to dodge, but to his shock, the guy blinks right behind him and lands a hit, slamming him down into the ground. Getting struck, Lin realizes this guy is insanely fast, so he uses all his skills to retaliate. He unleashes a powerful energy burst that stuns the guy, and as the man's about to recover, Lin closes the distance and smacks him right in the face. The hit works, breaking the man's face shield and confirming it really is the same dude from before. Not stopping for a second, Lin launches a barrage of horn strikes. But despite the power, he can't pierce through the guy's armor. It's ridiculously tough for a human suit. As the guy prepares to strike back, Lin quickly tail splashes him and follows up with a hard bite to the forearm. But even then, he realizes the armor is made of some absurdly tough material. His teeth can't even dent it. Meanwhile, the guy inside the suit is stunned, watching this crazy koi beast go feral, desperately trying to rip apart his armor. No matter how hard he hits back, the fish refuses to retreat. And then, just as things are about to escalate further, luck turns in the guy's favor. Lin's teleportation timer expires, and with a warning straight from hell, our boy gets yanked right back into the pond water. Still, he can't help but keep talking about that sharp blade the guy had. Lin knows if he'd gotten hit one more time, it would have been GG. That sword didn't look like any ordinary weapon, it was insanely sharp. And the armor looked like it came straight out of some advanced tech lab. As he's lost in deep thoughts, Lin remembers the guys talking about civilization ruins and starts wondering if that sword and armor came from there. System Mommy listens patiently as our boy keeps yapping about how the virus, mutated creatures, and now the ancient civilization might all be connected. According to his theory, maybe a long time ago, an advanced civilization came to Earth, but when it collapsed, it left ruins behind, and the virus they left mutated monsters. ET could just be an intelligent being they left as a final goal to reopen the ruins and awaken their ancient ancestors, who are basically mutated creatures. If that's true, Lin realizes their world might actually be in danger, and the only way to fight off that disaster is for him to evolve as fast as possible. After more hunting, our boy finally reaches level 15. Thanks to quest completion, he also receives a blue treasure. Reading the status, he's shocked to see a new ability, Night Combat, which grants him improved night vision and a 10% strength boost. That may not sound like much, but Lin gets hyped because later on, that extra 10% could easily be a game changer. Meanwhile, back at the chemical plant, the 2 dudes are sitting by the swamp despairing. The other guy asks the armored suit dude about the mutated creature, and he responds that the thing just disappeared into thin air. That makes them realize it might actually have teleportation powers. The guy then notices the damage on his companion's armor and points it out. The armored guy is disappointed, grumbling that despite all the effort it took to get that armor, a simple fish still managed to bite into it. As they prepare to leave, the armored man can't shake off the flashback of Lin's vengeful eyes, realizing there's something very wrong with that fish. He knows he should report this to his organization. Otherwise, it might fall straight into Dragon Team's hands. Meanwhile, on the internet, chat groups are buzzing about the curfew in the Eastern Division, speculating whether something appeared there, or maybe something even more serious. Back at the Dongchuan River, our boy wakes up from a nice sleep to find his task tab refreshed. He realizes that whether he completes half or not, the tasks reset automatically every morning. Suddenly, another notification pops up about his map upgrade. It's a brand new map, but as he's scrolling through it, Lin gets a strange, uneasy feeling. Following his gut, he swims to the surface to check things out, and that's when he notices what looks like a blast coming from the nearby mountain. To investigate more, Lin turns into his naked human form without a care in the world about System Mommy seeing his dong shillong. Meanwhile, at Dongchuan Mountain, soldiers are scrambling into position in a full panic. They've been ordered to block all paths and be ready to kill once the target is confirmed. Lu is also on her way, driving a jeep up the mountain, following her higher-ups' orders to make sure the target doesn't escape. Upon arrival, Lu's assistant sets up his sniper and reveals that he's found traces of the L organization, basically a bunch of madmen who inject themselves with the GT virus without caring about the consequences. Lu takes her position as well, noting that ET is injured and vulnerable, and orders her assistant to hold back the L organization men so they don't interfere. The assistant is locked in on one of the L organization guys who's holding a grenade ready to shoot if they try anything stupid. He knows these maniacs are dangerous, and with all those explosives, they might actually be planning to blow up the entire mountain. As Lu discusses the strategy with her soldiers, a suspicious drone suddenly appears above them. Lu spots it and instantly panics, shouting for everyone to activate their armor and get into defensive positions. And just as she gives the order, a massive blast engulfs everything. Somewhere else in the forest, Lin is sneaking his way toward the blast. While moving, he's surprised how System Mommy already knows the path, even though it's heavily guarded. Brushing it off, she asks him why he came here. According to Lin, the moment the explosion went off, he felt a mysterious force resonating with him from that direction. While chatting with System Mommy, Lin overhears voices nearby talking about cutting communications, bragging that they managed to blow up the Dragon Team leader, and now they need to find the injured ET. Hearing that, Lin realizes both sides are after ET, and judging by the voices, they're the same guys from before. If he follows them, he's bound to find ET. Meanwhile, the guys themselves are still shaken by how that fish tore through their armored suit, but they brush it off for later and focus on finding ET. From the nearby bushes, Lin is stunned by their insane speed, until suddenly, he hears someone else nearby. When he goes to check, to his surprise, it's Lu absolutely gunning down an ugly monster. After taking it down, Lu radios back that she's found ET. But to her shock, the other guy is already there, standing with his sword out, ready to fight. Noticing her, the guy walks toward Lu and suddenly lunges, but to his surprise, someone grabs his arm. It's Lin, radiating with immense energy. Our boy knows he doesn't have much time left in his transformation, so he has to make it a one-hit kill. With that, he stabs the guy with his own sword. The man freezes in disbelief, struggling to understand who Lin really is. Then suddenly, he recalls the fish from before and starts maniacally laughing, realizing it's him. While laughing like a lunatic, he casually pulls the sword out of his body and hurls it toward Lu, who barely manages to dodge it. Seeing that, Lin gets enraged. He charges up a punch with immense energy and slams it straight into his gut. The impact creates a massive energy blast, so bright it nearly blinds Lu. As the dust settles, Lin quickly dives back into the water, while she rushes toward the riverbank calling out for him. Watching this, Lu realizes it really was Lin, but she has no idea what's happening to him. Meanwhile, underwater, our boy internally assures her that he's got his own missions for now. Their little love-dovey scene doesn't go unnoticed, and System Mommy immediately starts acting like the third-wheel side character. But Lin can't shake off a weird feeling. In his human form, he feels a bit different than before, even though he doesn't have the same powers as his koi form. On the surface, realizing ET is missing, probably having escaped during the commotion, Lu informs her team to start searching for it. Meanwhile, down in the water, Lin hears about it and starts speculating that ET might be looking for a spaceship to get back home. Problem is, he has no clue where to even find one. Realizing System Mommy might know, he starts glazing her out the wazoo, begging for help. She's confused at first, but Lin explains she can help him avoid detection and locate the spaceship by tracking electronic signals. Despite brushing him off at first, she eventually gives in and uses her powers, instantly locking onto the spaceship at the mountain top. Wasting no time, Lin shoots toward the surface, knowing they can't let ET escape. If it gets away with important info, the whole Earth could be in danger. Meanwhile, on the surface, ET, with his sword beside him, is by the lake drinking water. While doing that, he notices some fishes and quickly dives in, starting a hunting spree. Lin, who's also nearby, catches the strong smell of blood and realizes something is definitely up. As E.T. keeps tearing through the fish, he suddenly gets a warning of an enemy nearby with higher combat power. Turns out, it's exactly who he was looking for, Lin. Lin doesn't waste a second. He channels his spell and charges at E.T. at full speed. The strike lands right in E.T.'s eyes, blinding him for a moment. With Lin's horn stuck in his eye, E.T. stretches his arm out and comes down with full force to slash him. Lin blocks it. He already knows they all love using the same move, but despite blocking, it still hurts. His horn even gets slightly cracked. As Lin is stuck in thought, E.T. suddenly blinks above him and goes for another heavy hit. Lin retaliates, shattering E.T.'s sword into pieces on impact, and immediately follows up by biting off the monster's arm. He thinks that without the blade and the arm, the guy won't be as strong. But to his shock, E.T. just morphs another arm out of nowhere and smacks him in the face with insane power. The blow sends Lin into unconsciousness, and in that state, he sees himself in human form aimlessly floating. He hears Sister Mommy's voice, desperately trying to wake him up. When he finally opens his eyes, he notices her shielding him, telling him not to waste energy retaliating recklessly or he'll die. Suddenly, another punch slams into Lin, sending him crashing into a nearby wall. For the first time in a long while, he actually feels raw pain. And to make things worse, E.T. is already winding up another power-loaded attack. However, as the strike lands, Lin manages to dodge and makes a break for it. Despite getting some distance, E.T. grabs him by the tail and calls him a pesky little fish. Lin, not backing down, activates his flaming body spell, burning E.T.'s hand. He follows up by channeling all his spells at once, biting into E.T.'s arm, then stabbing his horn straight into E.T.'s face, driving him down to the ground with flames erupting all around. After a brutal struggle, Lin finally manages to roast the guy to a crisp. He takes a deep breath of relief, thinking it's finally over. But up on the surface, the Eagle Organization goons are already searching for E.T. Lin is surprised by how quickly they showed up. From the look of them, they definitely don't seem friendly, more like the type to kill him on the spot. The guys on the surface spot E.T.'s body underwater, but realize it might already be toast. Enraged by whoever took him out, they start swearing they'll skin the culprit alive. Our boy Lin, Akathakoa Goldberg from you, hears all this and realizes it's a desperate situation. With no other choice, he decides to roll the dice and take a gamble. After devouring the E.T. corpse, Lin transforms into a full humanoid lizard, stronger than ever and finally able to move freely on land. Deep in the mountains, a hidden craft guarded by the Eel Organization becomes his next target. Their patrol doesn't last long as a red blur bursts from the water, slitting their throats and leaving the guards sprawled out dead. In salamander form, Lin crawls toward the craft, dead set on not letting the enemy keep it. Inside, an eel soldier is chilling, totally unaware of what's coming. Lin shifts into human form, strikes the man without warning, then instantly morphs back into his monstrous self. The terrified soldier barely has time to scream before Lin tears him apart. The rest of the squad sees the brutal mess their buddy's in and completely panics, but in a single slash, Lin cuts through them, turning the place into a bloodbath. Doing this, Lin realizes his energy has skyrocketed after this evolution. He might finally not be stuck in the water all the time. He transforms back into his human form and heads toward the control panel, but when he looks at it, he doesn't understand a damn thing. Instead, he notices a strange box nearby. Remembering that something like this might exist, he grabs it and takes it with him. Outside, Sister Mommy is stressing, asking why Lin is standing around like he wants to be caught by the dragon team. She's nervous about them rolling up and spotting him, but Lin's already got an idea. Smirking, he sets fire to the craft and its surroundings, knowing the flames will grab the dragon team's attention. To him, it's the perfect way to send a signal, without exposing himself directly. The fire rages through the clearing, and soon far away, dragon team scouts spot the blaze. Suspicious, they report it as another possible act of a mutated creature. Lu and her assistant arrive, carefully studying the scene and realizing they should investigate the spaceship. Just as they're processing it, a nearby guard calls out, informing them that ET guts have been found. Realizing the ET got eaten, Lu's assistant is shocked, wondering if some mutated creature devoured it. Hearing that, Lu quietly recalls Lin in her mind and knows it's connected to him, but she doesn't reveal anything. Out loud, she just claims she has no idea what it could be. The assistant adds that the ET had only landed a little while ago. Lu, acting calm, tells them not to overthink it and suggests focusing on the spaceship, since they could learn a lot from it. Inside, though, she knows she can't let them dig too deep or they'll uncover Lin's involvement. Meanwhile, her assistant realizes something else. They still haven't found ET's weapon. And deep under the water, Lin has already hidden that very sword, carefully covering it up with stones in a cove. Sister Mommy, seeing it, realizes that even after all that, they've got a weapon but can't use it. So Lin decides to just trash it for now. But he's hyped about one thing: he actually crossed over from a fish to an amphibian. That means he can cross species now and even talk too. Then his eyes go wide when he checks the quest log. It's asking him to take down a level 1 warrior. Lin's mouth drops open. He literally put his whole ass effort into taking down a level 2, and now level 1 might as well be a death sentence. Sister Mommy suggests he just skip it, but Lin internally feels like he can't. It's like leaving a test paper blank, it just doesn't sit right with him. Letting it go for the moment, they decide to get back to hunting. While searching, they notice hundreds of mutated mudskippers being tossed into the lake by 2 farmers, who, job done, are already heading off to get drunk for the night. As they're about to leave, they hear some noise from below the water's surface. Suddenly, Lin blasts them with a water beam packed full of those mutated mudfish. Seeing that, the guys freak out thinking it's a ghost and run the hell away from there. Climbing out of the water in his amphibian form, Lin wonders if those were the same guys trying to hunt him down. But before he can think too much, he notices multiple bright red lights glowing from beneath the ocean. Next thing he knows, hundreds of crawfish launch themselves straight at him, claws wide open. That's when Lin realizes they're mutated crawfish, but instead of being scared, he's actually excited, seeing them as a buffet. As they all charge, our boy fires off a fire beam, frying a bunch of them instantly. Munching away, the system chimes in, showing he just chained 100 evolution points off the meal. As he's checking his status, one of the bigger ones smacks him head-on, making Lin realize he really shouldn't underestimate it. The thing looks big and fast, and even though it lands a few hits, Lin manages to dodge most of them. He then counters with a fully charged horn strike, but the crawfish blocks it with its claws, locking his head in a claw grip. This surprises Lin, but he's not a little fish anymore. Using his limbs, he crushes the claws and follows up by slamming the crawfish straight in the face with an immense burst of energy. His own claw hurts from the hit, but before the crawfish can retaliate, Lin activates his Burning Flame spell, roasting the crab into a well-done dinner. He devours it, joking that his teeth hurt more from eating them than from actually fighting them. To his excitement, this also completes his difficult task. When he opens the reward chest, an immense surge of energy floods into his body. With a grin, he calls out to System Mommy, wanting to show off. To her shock, Lin suddenly blasts out literal Godzilla-like beams from his mouth, flames he can even shoot underwater. System Mommy immediately warns him not to try that in the mountains unless he wants major trouble. While they're talking, Lin spots a mutated mudfish swimming by and chomps it down, realizing the city's entire water supply might be crawling with these mutated fish, which is a problem way bigger than just dinner. Meanwhile, Mommy suggests he stay inside the water for now since he's got organizations on his back. Ignoring her, our boy starts wondering why they dumped these creatures into the inland river, then remembers it's probably just to buy time. That makes him realize they're trying to keep the dragon team busy, so he's got to do something. Swimming out of the water and transforming into his human form, our boy knows he can't let them take his home, Dragon Lake, that easily. With that determination, he starts running through the woods. When System Mommy asks what he's doing, he casually reveals he's just craving some mudfish. At the dragon team headquarters, Lu's assistant is briefing the officials about people releasing mutated creatures into different areas. He slams the desk, pointing out that the mudfish aren't dangerous by themselves, but they can take a human body as a host. Because of that, they need to seal all the waters and wait for further instructions from the higher-ups. The officials agree. Meanwhile, Lu and the other scientists are observing a strange mutated creature with wings wreaking havoc. One of the scientists reveals the sheer size of the beast and notes that it can generate extremely terrifying heat with an unknown temperature. Lu immediately asks for its location so they can launch an attack, but another scientist explains it's too fast and never stays in one place for long. The old man Zhang steps in, pointing out that based on its trajectory, it looks like the creature is heading toward the Atlantic Ocean. But there's another matter that requires attention. With that, he introduces Lu to the others, revealing she has a surprise for them. To their shock, her team has acquired an entire alien spaceship. Hearing that, the scientists get hyped, since aliens usually destroy their crafts after landing. This time, though, they actually managed to get their hands on one. The old man also points out that the ET creature looked ridiculously strong, it had battle scars, but still ended up dead, which means something even bigger must be out there. It also mentions the missing sword of the creature, which makes the scientists speculate. Either the eel organization snatched it, or the creature that killed it ate it along with the body. As they're chattering, Lu drifts off in thought, wondering if it's really Lin who pulled that off. The old man then shocks her by mentioning that the city branch has already detected a giant mutated creature, which might be the one that killed the ET. According to him, they've already sent a team to hunt it down. Hearing that, Lu realizes she needs to reach Lin and help him, so she hurriedly requests the old man to arrange the GT virus for her as soon as possible. He agrees while Lu prepares herself to take full responsibility for the consequences. Back on the shore, Lin takes a sigh of relief after cleaning up all those mudfish. Despite him doing the work, it's his system that's feeling tired. Lin, though, is really starting to feel overwhelmed, handling mutated creatures, dealing with ET business, and saving humanity all in just a few days is a lot. Still, because he wiped out so many mudfish, he gets another reward. As he clicks it, an immense surge of purple energy flows into his body. He suddenly feels itchy, like something's crawling inside his head, then realizes he's literally growing a brain. A notification window pops up revealing he's unlocked a new skill, Berserk Mode. It boosts his combat power for 10 seconds with a 24-hour cooldown, but after that, he'll be weakened. Lin doesn't like the sound of that at all. While he's still processing it, a blast suddenly erupts from a nearby cave. System Mommy points him in the direction, and when Lin arrives, he's surprised to find the entrance is just his size, letting him crawl in like a rat. He reaches a dead-end wall, but manages to poke a small hole in it. Peeking inside, his jaw drops as there's a freaking T-Rex in a test tube. And not just one, multiple of them, frozen in time. Lin quickly asks the system to detect their combat strength, but she finds no sign of life in them. Still, Lin swears he just saw them moving. Suddenly, to their shock, the warning lights start blaring. An unknown combat entity has been detected nearby. Out of nowhere, a massive wave crashes into the cave, breaking the walls apart. Lin can't help but wonder what kind of creature is strong enough to control waves like that. As he's trying to process it, a huge swirl forms right in front of him and begins sucking him in. Lin tries to stay calm, reminding himself he could just teleport back at any moment, but then he changes his mind. No, first he wants to see who's behind this. With a push of power, he breaks free of the squirrel, only to be shocked when everything outside looks perfectly calm, as if nothing had even happened. But when he looks back, the squirrel is gone. What follows next, though, leaves him stunned. A 2-meter-long, high-level mutant crawls out. The system immediately pops up, informing Lin that if he eats this creature, he'll also gain its abilities. That makes our boy way too excited, already wondering just how many evolution points he could rack up from something that can literally control seawater. Just then, the creature shoots out a bubbly water beam, forming strange electric bubbles that hover around him. To Lin's surprise, the bubbles don't just pop, they actually follow him. One even makes contact, shocking him from the inside out with a jolt of electricity. Getting up, Lin realizes it doesn't really hurt, but it's enough to leave him dazed. With that, both sides start blasting beams at each other. When Lin's finally had enough and fires his own flame beam, he's shocked to see a tentacle rising straight out of the fire. The monster's tentacle lashes toward him and actually manages to grab him. That's when Lin realizes these two creatures aren't just strong, they're working together intelligently. He knows he needs to get serious if he wants to make it out alive, so he ignites his entire body in flames, burning the monster's tentacle until it recoils back in pain. But the mutant fish isn't done, it quickly follows up with another bubble beam attack. Our boy dodges every single one of them, charging straight toward the monster. As he closes in and the fish tries to launch yet another beam, Lin literally opens his mouth and spits a fire beam right down its throat like the good fish it is. The blast erupts inside the monster's body, bursting flames out all around. That's the end of the mutant fish. Wasting no time, Lin devours it whole. Right after, System Mommy warns that the blood might attract other monsters, but Lin's more than ready to take them on. Then the system window pops up, notifying him he just gained 25,000 evolution points from the kill, which makes him way too excited. However, despite System Mommy being concerned about the area, Lin swims up, chasing the tentacle creature that ran away. Mommy also warns him about a mutant breeding base nearby, but our boy reassures her that he's got teleportation as a backup in the worst case. Not far ahead, Mommy notices the monster's tentacle again and points it out to Lin, but to him, it just looks kinda weird. Suddenly, that suspicion proves itself right as the tentacle comes flying straight at him. When Lin turns, he's hit with a nightmare sight, the same monster octopus from before now being eaten alive by a godly-looking crab. Our boy can't believe his eyes. But before he can even process it, the crab's attention locks onto him, pinning him down with its overwhelming stare pressure. Realizing the situation, our boy wisely decides, nope, time to run for it. As Lin swims away, the giant crab chases after him. This is when Lin realizes his System Mommy was right, he can't teleport yet because he's still out of range. While fleeing, he takes a sharp turn, but the crab manages to bite his tail, and to his shock, it actually cracks his scales. Realizing he's in real danger, Lin speeds off, but just as the monster is about to chomp him down, he finally reaches teleportation range and slips away. At the Dongchuan River, he lets out a big sigh of relief, only for System Mommy to mock him about being so confident in his teleportation. Lin, embarrassed, mutters that he didn't know, so it doesn't count. Looking around, Lin notices they're not in his home waters, and System Mommy claims he must have picked this spot in panic. But then Lin spots mutated sea loaches even here, proving they're reproducing. With an annoyed huff, he blasts them with his beam, something System Mommy scolds him for, calling it a waste of power. Lin just shrugs it off, saying it's for stress relief. But mid-banter, the water suddenly feels strange. When they look back, their eyes go wide as a massive tornado of mutated loaches is swirling around them. Seeing this, Lin realizes there are enough to wipe out a whole city, and he wonders who could have sent them. Without hesitation, he flashes out of the water, charges up his Godzilla-style energy beam, and fires it at full intensity into the river. The blast takes out a huge chunk of the swarm, but System Mommy grimly notes it still won't be enough. Lin, however, is confident that at least he's helping a bit. He also knows the river is empty thanks to all these hungry loaches. Walking into the jungle, he spots two formally dressed dudes chatting. They're talking about their men getting caught, the very ones responsible for spreading the mutated loaches. One of them, though, assures that their job is already done. Since the loaches reproduce insanely fast, the city rivers will be overrun in no time. Hearing how casual they are about it makes Lin furious. The two continue laughing about the city's future misery, bragging that not even the Dragon Team officials could do anything. They plan to seize the ruins of civilization once it all collapses. Lin, listening, can't help but wonder if those frozen T-Rexes he saw are connected to this plan of reviving ancient civilization. Just then, one of the guys pulls out a tube filled with glowing green eggs and tosses it into the water, eager to see how the city folks will deal with it. But before he can even light his cigarette, the tube gets tossed right back, smacking him in the head. Both men angrily shout, demanding to know who did that, when Lin suddenly leaps out of the water like a raid boss. One of the men, panicked but bold, charges at him with a mystical knife. Lin tries to block with his hand, but to his shock, the blade pierces right through. The pain only enrages him further. He blasts the ditty out of the guy, then follows up by giving him his fair share of baby oil treatment, frying him to a crisp. The remaining guy, seeing all that, starts trembling in fear and nearly faints when Lin actually talks. Just then, our boy loads up his first fireball and blasts the dude straight up. Meanwhile, everything is secretly being recorded by a tiny camera hidden in the guy's glasses. As Lin threatens them, the guy already burning with flames suddenly starts laughing maniacally, warning Lin that he won't live long either. After both of them are turned into extra well done, System Mommy nervously wonders if Lin is planning to eat them too. But this time, our boy shakes his head. No way, that's way too disgusting. Still, he can't stop thinking about what they said. According to those two, mutated creatures are erupting all over the city, and it might not just be loaches. While mulling that over, Lin suddenly remembers E.T. and gets hyped, realizing that the E.T. he fought earlier might have just been a scout for the real main force behind all this. Diving back into the water, he wonders if their true goal is to resurrect ancient creatures from the ruins of their civilization and use them to take over the city. If that's the case, he knows he has to find a way back to those ruins. But just as he's about to move, Lin feels dizzy and suddenly blacks out. Somewhere else in the Dragon Team's lab, they finally complete the process of injecting the GT virus into her. As she steps out of the chamber, she feels her body lighter and stronger than ever before. Zhang greets her with a proud smile, handing her the Action Team uniform and badge, congratulating her on surviving the dose. As she suits up, Zhang explains that she's been asleep for 20 hours since the injection, and just 3 hours ago, EEL organization goons attacked their network, trying to steal data on the mutated creatures. Lu isn't surprised. They always knew those guys would reveal themselves eventually. In her eyes, EEL is just a bunch of GT virus junkies, chasing power and survival for when disaster finally hits. After all, only the few who can survive the GT virus' insane dose even get to be an EEL. But one thing still bugs Lu: why were they after E.T.? Zhang admits he's just as clueless, speculating that maybe EEL sees E.T. as some kind of messiah who'll save them. Opening up the weaponry room, Zhang tells her she can take anything she wants. But before stepping in, Lu pauses and asks if there is any difference between EEL and their own org. Zhang answers without hesitation that EEL only works for themselves, while they're fighting for humanity. With that, Lu walks in to gear up. Zhang, a bit impatient now, reminds her to hurry as they caught a mutated creature waiting outside the city that only she can handle. Hearing that, Lu can't help but wonder if they are talking about Lin. Outside, Lin is trapped inside a specialized net, surrounded by the Dragon Team. Lu's assistant, who's leading the squad, is relieved they finally managed to catch the mutated creature with the help of that new device, but he's still not sure what exactly it is. Lin, annoyed, really didn't think he'd end up caught by this guy of all people. System Mommy points out that he might end up dissected now, but our boy's mind is still locked on one thing: finding that ruined civilization. As the team waits, Lu arrives in her brand new uniform, demanding an update. Her assistant, noticing Lin twitch, immediately orders his men to sedate him so he's easier to move. Meanwhile, in the back, Lu tells her men to stay on guard since the creature looks agitated. But just as they're about to act, Lu suddenly freezes in shock because she hears her name being called. Her eyes start tearing up as she realizes the voice came from that monster, and it might actually be her boyfriend, Lin. Her assistant, totally clueless, informs her that they can move the creature now. As Lin tries to speak again, System Mommy quickly shuts him down, reminding him there are too many people around. and if he shows his human form here, the dragon team will definitely not let him off. Despite waiting so long to finally talk to his shorty, our boy can't do a thing. Press F in the chat. But the girl herself steps forward, walking right up to him, asking softly how he's been since he looks like he's been through hell. Just as they're about to share a heartfelt moment, Lin suddenly notices fireballs raining down from the sky. They slam into Dongchuan Mountain one after another, causing massive explosions. Seeing that, Lin shouts that they're targeting the ancient civilization ruins. Without hesitation, Lu orders her men to contact headquarters immediately. It's clear something's gone very, very wrong with the ruins. These blasts work as the ultimate cockblock, but at least they help Lu make up her mind to let Lin go. She knows she can't put people's lives in danger just to keep him locked up, so he needs to be released. With one swing of her sword, she cuts off his net, and as he drops, it creates a massive water splash. Lin, seizing the opportunity, bolts off while Lu just stands there, lost in thought. Her assistant, not noticing her struggle, assumes the monster escaped on its own and decides they'll deal with it later. With that, Lu orders the team to prep for heading towards the ancient ruins. Back in the water, Lin digs out the ancient sword, knowing they need it now more than ever. Just as he finishes, he hears commotion going on at the surface. Thinking it might be aliens, he swims up to check it out. As he surfaces, his warning system detects an unknown entity, which confuses him since he already cleared the pool of all mutants. Suddenly, nearby, an electric extraterrestrial orb appears, radiating immense force. When Lin finally breaks the surface, he notices two armored aliens, but he's confused about why they're here instead of at the ancient city. Meanwhile, the aliens are scanning with their forearm devices, trying to detect higher combat strength. To their shock, they get one big signal. Before they can figure it out, the water explodes with a massive splash, and Lin comes shooting out, landing right beside them. Seeing him, one alien starts warning about their master, who's about to arrive. But our boy, standing on business, doesn't wait around. He hits him straight with the fiery beam. However, the alien quickly pops open his shield and blocks it. Doing that, he realizes they might not be the ones who triggered this creature. But to their surprise, Lin burrows himself and pops out right beside them. In a blink, he dodges the counterattack and with his powerful claws, rips off one of the alien's heads, killing him on the spot. The other alien, seeing this, just raises a finger and fires a powerful plasma shot that smacks Lin dead in the center, sending him crashing back into the water. It hurts like hell, but what shocks Lin even more is that the alien dude suddenly starts creating a massive whirlpool in the water. It looks like the energy came from the power sphere that the aliens are flexing with. But Lin isn't stressing too much. He's an amphibian, and water is literally his home turf. To his surprise, the whirlpool isn't pulling him down. It's actually carrying him forward like some cosmic Uber. Right on cue, System Mommy activates a protective shield because she knows Lin is that extra main character type. She catches him meditating, casually cooking up a glowing red orb like it's a spirit bomb moment. Meanwhile, the military outside is scrambling. Lu's assistant is busy pulling up spaceship trajectories, claiming there are 3, but both of them know the math ain't mathing. There's definitely more, and they're headed straight for the ancient ruins. The assistant decides to squad up with a team to go check things out, promising updates. Inside, Lu is stressing. They got 2 mutant T-Rexes frozen in those ruins for ages, and the scientists still can't crack the ice to study them. So why would aliens pull up with a whole fleet just to wake up a couple of dino bosses? Then it clicks. What if there are more ruins hidden in the city? Lu immediately shares the theory with Zhang, who reveals that HQ has already sent in their pro-level soldiers. Zhang tells Lu to hold the mountains with the others. Lu was about to reply when a dude walks in looking like Chad. It's Lai, the captain of the Dragon Action Team, and he's giving off main character energy while greeting her. As night falls, Lu's assistant and his team are still waiting in the woods for the alien spaceships to land. Just as they're about to lose hope, they spot a meteor-looking thing streaking down from the sky. Lu's assistant quickly requests Lu to intercept it. Without wasting time, a missile blasts it down, and seeing the opportunity, he and his team jump into action to link up with the main force. They keep blasting these meteorites, but in the process, Lu's assistant's team stumbles across a spaceship parked right in the middle of the woods. They're a bit confused at first as it looks completely untouched. Not a single scratch from the missile hits. Turns out it's a fully functioning spaceship without a single mark of damage. As they're still processing this, the door slowly creaks open, and in a flash, an alien charges straight at them. Lu's team snaps into action, blasting away, but the alien is too damn fast, dodging every single bullet before slicing one of the soldiers clean in half. It then rushes at Lu's assistant, who draws his sword, seeing it as a challenge. Their blades collide, sparks flying, and Lu's assistant clenches his jaw, determined to at least take the thing down with him if he dies here. He orders his men to fire, but the alien's shield blocks all the bullets with ease. The alien sneers, mocking human combat strength, then charges up his energy-infused arm for a finishing blow. Just as he's about to strike, a red tail smashes into him, sending the alien crashing into the ground. That's when Lu's assistant realizes it's Lin coming in clutch. The alien, not backing down, lunges again at the dragon team's soldiers, but Lin is one step ahead. He blocks its path with roaring flames, then charges his own power before chomping straight through the alien's sword mid-swing. Following up, he smacks it with a brutal backhand, slicing the alien's arm clean off. Grabbing the alien by the neck, Lin mocks him, saying he shouldn't rely only on weapons. But instead of fear, the alien just laughs as he reveals their hunt is only about to begin and Lin can't stop it. Lin tightens his grip around the creature's throat, demanding answers, but the figure just smiles wider, eyes glowing with pure madness. Even while being crushed, the guy leans in close and whispers something that makes Lin's pupils shrink like he just got spoiled on the final episode of a show. Before Lin can process the tea, a glowing arrow slices through the air and blasts straight into the figure's head, shattering it into glittering fragments like someone just rage quit a video game. Lin stands there holding the limp body, fuming. His one chance at answers just got snatched, and now he's looking at the culprit with the type of stare that screams, "Bro, we're gonna have problems." In the distance, Lai steps into view with his bow radiating golden light like some divine executioner. As the tension spikes, Lu arrives, revealing that this guy is from headquarters, so yeah, they should be afraid. Lin catches on that Lu is actually hinting at something, trying to warn him. He realizes Lai doesn't know about him yet, which means one thing: he has to get out before it's too late. Just as Lai is about to fire another arrow, Lu whips out a flashbang and chucks it in front of him. By the time Lai's vision clears, the creature is gone. Brushing it off with cold efficiency, Lu orders the medical team to move in. They quickly rush to carry away her injured assistant as the battlefield slowly quiets down. Far away on the shore, Lin stares at the sky, still haunted by the alien's words. The alien told him that Earth is nothing more than a hunting ground for them, that they wake up powerful mutant creatures just to hunt them for thrill. That means every single mutant was awakened by the aliens, which makes Lin wonder if he too is just another piece in their twisted game. Sister Mommy doesn't know much about that part, but she does know one thing. Now 3 different parties are looking for Lin. Still, Lin is more focused on the deep water route he found leading from the lake to the mountain during the whirlpool incident. While trapped in it, he also got upgraded, unlocking a super rage skill that ignores cooldowns whenever he's badly injured. Excited about the power-up, Lin listens as Sister Mommy opens another chest, granting him a pink-traded skill, Scan. This lets him investigate creatures from long distances, revealing their basic information. Nice loot drop for our boy. After the whirlpool calms, Lin makes up his mind he'll take down the aliens even if it kills him. He also realizes that the metal sphere was what pushed him through the shortcut into the mountain, and that couldn't have been random. Coming back to the present, Lin wonders why the orb did that. System Mommy speculates, maybe the aliens consider Lin on the same level as the mutated creatures in the ruins. In other words, they tossed him into the mountain just to make him another target in their hunt. That thought hits hard. Lin realizes he really might be part of the game. But before he can dwell on it, the ground begins to shake. He looks up and sees more meteors crashing down from the sky. Looking at them, he knows that these aren't the real hunters yet, just the aliens arriving to wake the prey. Determined to deal with the vanguard aliens quickly, Lin braces himself. But to his shock, the earth splits apart as the mountain itself seems to cave in. From the massive cracks, a huge, terrifying creature emerges with a roar that shakes the land. Back at the dragon team, Lai is busy interrogating the alien who claims there's a really strong creature lurking in the area. As Lai questions him about his purpose, the alien gets cocky and threatens him, so Lai just slices his head off in a single swing. Problem solved. While he's still busy with that, another alien tries to sneak up from behind, but Lu comes in clutch and slashes it down. She tells Lai he shouldn't fight alone, but Lai clearly doesn't like how the dragon team's other divisions operate. As she presses him, Lai casually reveals he knows she let that creature go on purpose. Lu freezes for a second, but before the tension can thicken, the alien on the ground starts mocking them, saying that even Lai's fancy suit 3 is nothing but basic armor to them. Lai, not having it, leans in to intimidate him and declares he'll use him for interrogation since the alien clearly knows a lot. But before he can get too far, both of their ears are blasted by a loud, ear-piercing roar that rattles the air. The fallen alien laughs, excited, saying that's their backup arriving. Meanwhile, over at the mountain, Lin is now staring down a mutant earth dragon with a combat strength of 404. He is hyped to see his new skill actually works, but also kinda shook that a giant mutated worm managed to level up into this monster. Before he can make another sarcastic comment, the worm suddenly lunges at him. Lin barely dodges by inches, his heart racing. Even though he evaded, he knows one clean hit from that thing would have shattered him into pieces. The worm, not backing down, follows up with a flurry of attacks, but Lin manages to dodge them all, though he's confused as hell about how it even knows his position without having eyes. As he's still processing that, the worm suddenly lunges right on top of him. Lin barely manages to sidestep, realizing this thing is getting faster and faster. Out of nowhere, the worm's massive body smacks him, sending him crashing to the ground. Despite its bulky, hectic body, it's way too fast. With that insane speed, it grabs Lin and slams him down again, carving a massive crater in the earth. This enrages our boy, who mocks it, asking if that's really all the monster's got. With that, Lin powers up, fiery scales blazing, and charges straight into the beast, chomping down with a savage jaw bite. His bite literally starts melting its skin, but to his shock, just one swing of the worm's body sends him flying again, crashing into a nearby mountain. That's when Lin realizes this monster is also getting stronger. A quick glance shows its combat strength has increased. Not knowing what the hell is going on, Lin decides to screw it. It's time to go super rage mode. His body surges with power as he transforms into a full-on raid boss, ready to go all out on this bastard. As the monster charges at him with its mouth wide open, Lin, loading up his own body with powerful energy, grabs its teeth. He then literally picks up the worm and slams it into the ground, creating a loud, earth-shaking blast. Not stopping there, Lin follows up by slashing the monster all across his body with his razor-sharp claws. Our boy is in full-on rage mode now, and despite the monster already being basically done for, he just keeps burning it, tearing it apart from the inside out. He's going absolutely off the moon like a werewolf under a blood moon, enhancing his strength to insane levels. After a while, Lin finally finishes devouring the beast. Exhausted, he realizes just how massive that thing really was. Sister Mommy quickly shields him up, since he's weakened from the aftermath of his rage spell. While he's resting, a system notification pops up showing he gained a whopping 120,000 evolution points, making Mommy realize this boy is absurdly lucky. Meanwhile, back near the shore, Lu and the action team captain are escorting the captured alien back to headquarters for interrogation. On their way, Lu points out that the aliens have jammed their communication, so they'll have to walk all the way back to base. Hearing that, the alien mocks them, laughing that they can't do anything since the creature is already awake and way stronger than they could ever imagine. But then, as they're walking, Lu suddenly stops as something is standing in front of her. To their shock, it's another powerful-looking alien ready to throw down. Without hesitation, both Lu and Lai charge toward him, but to Lai's horror, his blade cracks on impact. The alien follows up with a brutal punch, sending Lai crashing into the ground. Lu rushes over, picks him up, and tells him to rest and try contacting headquarters since he's already burned through a lot of his strength. As Lu squares up to face the threat, Lai warns her to watch out for the alien's blade and armor set, and no matter what, they just have to hold out until backup arrives. Hearing that, Lu launches herself at the alien, striking with everything she's got. But the alien casually blocks it, then slips behind her for a counterattack. Lu, quick on her feet, manages to dodge but realizes this alien is way too fast, she's barely keeping up. And worse, its attacks are insanely sharp and relentless, like it doesn't even know what the word tired means. Loading up more power, the alien charges straight at Lu and knocks her to the ground. It then turns its attention back to Lai, clearly aiming to finish him right then and there. But to everyone's shock, something intercepts the alien's strike midair. Dust clouds explode around them, and when it clears, Lai is stunned to see the alien completely gone, no trace at all. Lai mutters in disbelief, still trying to process what has just happened. Lu, catching her breath, points toward the massive footprints left behind, evidence that an old presence has stepped in. The sight leaves Lai shocked. Not only has the creature spared them, it has actually carried the alien away with it. Lu assures him that the being might be something different, something special, and insists that this incident should not be reported to headquarters since it does not appear to be a threat. Lai, though reluctant, agrees for the time being, and the two of them head back. Elsewhere along the shore, Lin drags himself out of the water with the alien in tow and slams it hard against a nearby rock. The alien, dazed and battered, stares at him in disbelief, wondering if Lin has awakened as well and only intervened because he noticed its distress. That hope quickly dies. Channeling fiery energy into his spell, Lin's grin turns wicked as flames erupt across his hands. Doing that, Lin reveals that the worm the alien was waiting for is already inside his stomach, and soon the alien itself will be joining it. After some devouring, Lin manages to take down the whole alien body, but instantly gets disgusted as it tastes like a freaking tire. When the system asks if he actually ate a tire, Lin jokes that if eating tires helped him level up, everyone would have ditched cars and gone on foot a long time ago. With that, he suddenly receives a notification that he's completed both difficult missions of devouring level 1 and level 2 creatures. Out of nowhere, 2 lightning bolts form and start absorbing into his body. Lin feels his eyes tingle, refreshed like some weird enhancement just kicked in. When he opens them again, he's shocked that he can now see at insane distances, like a living telescope. He can even spot the dragon team's camp from way out in the distance. On top of that, his breathing feels sharper, more controlled. Hearing this, the system Mommy points out it might be connected to his heart system. Focusing back on reality, Lin realizes that despite the dragon team doing their best to protect the city, their manpower must be lacking against all these unexpected alien ships popping up. He admits he underestimated both the dragon team and the eel organization and decides it's time to reevaluate them. With that, he makes up his mind to actually help the dragon team clear the battlefield. Meanwhile, inside the civilization ruins, Lu and her team are on edge. The frozen creature they've been guarding is showing more and more cracks in its icy prison. Everyone fears it's about to wake up. But according to Lu, they still haven't detected any real signs of life, so it's uncertain whether the thing is alive or not. Some of her men suggest contacting the action team for backup, but Lu shuts that down, saying they're busy waiting on new armor upgrades and will return later anyway. Just then, one of her men rushes in with bad news that the eel organization has leaked all the information. As Lu is processing the situation, Lai shows up carrying the suit number 2 box, revealing that he found it hidden in the mountains. Hearing that, Lu immediately realizes it must have belonged to the alien Lin cleared out earlier. When she opens the box, she's stunned to see a level 2 armor sword inside. According to her, level 3 is the lowest and easiest to obtain, so getting hands on a level 2 is a super rare feat. Lai adds that at headquarters they only have level 3 suits, and if someone wants a level 2, they have to earn it by passing a special test inside the ruins. Not only that, it's notoriously hard to get. There's no restriction on trying, but many people have lost their lives chasing it. Lai goes on to say he actually found 5 of these suits. It must be the eel organization. Lin figures out they deliberately placed that orb to help the aliens wake up the monsters. Without wasting a second, he charges off toward the frequency source. Meanwhile, Sister Mommy, busy glazing herself, as always, notices her reckless boy already ran off, so she decides to follow him. Near the civilization ruins, Lin uses camouflage to lurk around but is confused that he hasn't sensed the aura of the T-Rex, which means they're still asleep. He also realizes that the metal ball might be the key to waking those T-Rexes up, and someone from the dragon team is definitely sus for doing it. Soon he spots what looks like a traitor walking around like he's James Bond or something. Lin follows the guy, and once he enters the cave, the dude pulls out a small glowing ball from his pocket, muttering that it's his mission to wake the T-Rexes. Lin, not the type to just sit quietly, blasts a fire beam right at his hand. Startled, the guy whips out his pistol and upon seeing Lin, starts unloading bullets, screaming monster. However, not a single bullet leaves even a scratch on him. Lin casually grabs the guy by the neck, but to his surprise, the dude's got some hidden device in his arm. He triggers it, and a massive blast erupts. But when the smoke clears, Lin walks out completely unscratched, more shocked that the guy tried to take himself out just to get rid of Lin. Processing this, Lin suddenly hears heavy gunfire coming from inside the civilization ruins. Inside, the dragon team is going full blast mode on something: tanks, machine guns, everything they've got. After a while of non-stop fire, Lai signals everyone to stop, while Lu wonders if the thing is finally dead. But as the smoke settles, a T-Rex stomps out, completely unscratched and absolutely furious. Seeing this, Lai realizes normal bullets ain't gonna do squat against this beast, so he starts firing his lightning arrows. But to his shock, the moment one arrow hits the T-Rex's eye, it just reflects right off the eyeball. Lu, however, points out that even though it looked useless, it actually did damage the eyes a little. She tells him to keep going. Hearing that, Lai starts shooting again, aiming directly at the creature's eyes, and this time it works. However, it only makes the creature even more enraged, and it starts charging straight at the dragon team. The soldiers, seeing it coming, are panicking in fear, while Lu whips out her otherworldly, metal-forged sword to test it out on the T-Rex's body. She also orders the one with the number 2 suit to lead everyone outside and get ready to execute the final plan if things go south. As they're still processing, the T-Rex is already upon them. But just as it's about to strike, a blazing fire beam slams into it, sending the massive beast flying. The T-Rex screeches as its body burns while Lin charges in, latching onto its face with a vicious bite. The T-Rex thrashes and retaliates, knocking Lin back, but our boy doesn't feel a single ounce of pain in his rage mode. While this chaos is unfolding, Lu leaps into action too, launching herself into the air and slashing at the T-Rex's tail. To her surprise, the blade actually works, so she tosses the sword over to Lin, telling him to go for its eyes. Catching the sword midair, Lin springs up, aiming for the creature's head. But before he can land the strike, the T-Rex chomps down and shatters the sword into pieces. Lin doesn't stop. He immediately follows up by blasting a fiery beam straight at the T-Rex's eyes, making it roar in agony. But then multiple warning screens suddenly pop up from the system. As Lin glances up, he notices hundreds of missiles streaking toward their location. Seeing this, Lin can't help but wonder if after all that, they are actually trying to get rid of him too. As the blast hit, Lin remembered cutting down the T-Rex with a level 2 sword, only to get smacked down by its tail. While he was down, he also recalled the hundreds of missiles raining toward him. Back in the present, Lin wakes up thanks to a good old slap from System Mommy. To his excitement, he realizes he's back in his pond. System Mommy, seeing his height, calmly informs him that he fell into a coma after the fight. Just as the explosions were about to hit, she managed to teleport him back. However, on Lin asking about it, she reveals that the mutant wasn't even hurt by the explosions since its skin is ridiculously tough. She also drops the bomb that Lin was unconscious for 1.5 days. Hearing this, Lin immediately decides to head back and check things out. Using teleportation, he flashes straight toward the civilization ruins. While speeding along, Mommy wonders why he's in such a rush, to which Lin cheekily replies that he wants to be in the show. After all, the Dragon Team's bombing might have gravely injured the T-Rex, and it could be by the riverside healing. Sure enough, as Lin reaches the river, his guess proves correct. The T-Rex is chilling there, munching on some deer like it's having a riverside picnic. Using his camouflage spell, Lin sneaks up from behind and spreads out a cloud of fiery smoke to create a distraction. Taking advantage of the moment, he quickly lunges in and bites down hard on the T-Rex's leg. However, the T-Rex, not thinking much, just chomps Lin straight into its mouth. But that's exactly what Lin wanted. From the inside, he unleashes his thorn scales, shocking the monster from within. Then he cranks it up a notch, targeting the T-Rex's insides and engulfing them in flames. In no time, smoke starts pouring out of the creature's body as it collapses to the ground. Lin literally smoked it from the inside out. As it falls, the stench gets even worse, making System Mommy gag in disgust. Lin, however, just grins and assures her that it was all part of his bigger plan. Not wasting a second, our boy jumps right back into devouring the T-Rex. Meanwhile, back in the city hospital, both Lin and Lai are receiving treatment for their injuries. Out of nowhere, they both get calls at the same time. On the line, headquarters is demanding explanations about what exactly happened with that other mutated creature that appeared during the battle. Just as Lin is about to reveal who it was, Lai's assistant barges in, claiming it was a dragon. To their shock, he informs them that they spotted what looks like a dragon in the city's pond. Seeing the live feed, Lin immediately understands why. The social media chat groups are also buzzing non-stop about mutated creatures appearing and wreaking havoc in the city. Everyone's heard the news about the dragon sighting in the pond, clearly stirring up widespread panic. Meanwhile, in the Dragon Team conference room, Zhang asks Lu for her opinion. According to her, it's probably some kind of mutated snake-like reptile, but she definitely doesn't believe it's a dragon. Zhang agrees, saying they need to calm the masses, spin it to their advantage, and at the same time keep the L organization away from all this mess. Lai, however, points out that the rumors are all over the place. Some say it's a filming crew, while folks from far-off urban areas think it's just a movie prop. Lu suggests deleting social media posts about it so people will soon forget. Meanwhile, back at the pond, our boy has now massively transformed into this long, snake-like beast. He's level 40 with nearly 500 strength and a ton of powerful skills. Even he's shocked that devouring the T-Rex gave him such an insane amount of evolution points, wondering why he didn't do it earlier. Looking at his reflection in the mirror, our boy realizes he's basically a full-on flood dragon now, and if this keeps up, he might just evolve into a real dragon. According to System Mommy, he doesn't even need a dragon gate to ascend anymore. However, she reminds him that he needs to head back to the mountains. Back there, Lin starts clearing the rubble blocking the entrance to the civilization ruins. He's eager to explore, but while he's busy yapping to Mommy about turning back into a human to save energy, he suddenly notices a rat scurrying out of the cave. It's then followed by the thunder of countless rats, leaving Lin totally confused. He wonders if it's because their awakening goal is complete, and that's why they're all retreating. Saying that, he transforms back into human form and crawls deeper into the cave. Inside, he finds other ancient animals preserved in tubes. The 2 T-Rexes were shocking enough, but Lin never expected to see so many extinct creatures here. Even crazier, they all seem to be mutated. As he's processing all this, Lin hears Lu's team approaching and quickly hides. Lu enters with her squad, looking around and points out that these ruins are ridiculously hard to destroy. There are also advanced tools here that their current world's scientists can't even understand. Lu's assistant, checking the place out, wonders aloud if all of it was left behind by some ancient civilization. However, Lai denies that, revealing that before the birth of humans, there were already some powerful, advanced civilizations that might have come to Earth and left these relics behind. He also claims that the alien they encountered earlier might have been here to awaken these creatures, though they still don't know the exact purpose. As they shift their focus back toward finding equipment, Lin, lurking nearby, swears to protect Lu at all costs. Once they leave, he gets all hyped, realizing there are tons of creatures here he could eat to speed up his evolution. But System Mommy suggests first checking their stats. Lin listens, only to be completely shocked when he finds nothing. That's when it hits him. These creatures are all dead. Lin wonders if they still have evolution points, but System Mommy just mocks him for even asking. Soon after, Lin gets his reward for devouring the mutated T-Rex, something called the Scale of Mystical Iron. Our boy, seeing the progress bar, is surprised since he always used to get rewards randomly before. This time, he also gets a chest, and when he opens it, he finds the Corroding Claws skill, which makes his claws look way sharper. To test it out, Lin slashes at a nearby rock and to his surprise, leaves deep claw marks in it. Even the missiles weren't strong enough to do that, but thanks to his new skill, he pulled it off. However, Lin suddenly realizes there's more. He notices a strange symbol on the screen and presses it. As soon as he does, it opens up his map and teleports him back into his pond. He's completely confused about what just happened, and even System Mommy doesn't know anything about it. Lin soon realizes that if that's the case, then the place must actually be hidden in the depths of the pond. So without wasting time, he dives straight down. The deeper he goes, the eerier it gets, so quiet that he starts wondering if all the creatures just vanished. Suddenly, smoke starts rising from the seabed, followed by a massive blast that sends debris flying everywhere. As the dust and rubble settle, Lin is shocked to see what looks like a whirlpool forming right in front of him. This makes him realize a brand new area just opened up, but to his horror, a rank 4 mutant creature with a power level of 778 comes charging straight at him. As our boy notices it, weird bubbles start forming all around him, blocking his vision. The creature catches up, and just as it's about to strike, Lin spots it and blasts out his own fire beam, resulting in a massive collision blast. To Lin's shock, the thing actually manages to punch through his fire beam and sends him flying right out of it. This makes him even more pissed, so he starts channeling his fiery scale spell, but before he can let it rip, he suddenly gets smacked with a frost beam. Lin, seeing that for the first time, is stunned. He's surprised, but he also knows it's time to teach this guy a lesson, so he charges straight at it. Lin manages to bite down on its arm and immediately feels the icy coldness seeping into his body. Before he can react, the creature slashes him with its frost claws, and Lin realizes those claws are no joke. Every hit cuts deep. The creature pauses for a second, then charges again. This time it manages to pierce straight through Lin's body with its spikes. Despite the pain, our boy retaliates by slashing its tentacles clean off. Knowing he's at his limit, Lin decides it's time to unleash rage mode. Even though he's worried about the other creatures lurking around, he knows this is about survival. The moment he transforms, the power surge alone burns away the creature's tentacles. Without wasting a second, Lin barrels forward and collides with it head-on. As they both collide, Lin manages to get the upper hand, sending the creature flying back. In his Devil Lord form, he mocks it, asking how it's planning to heal from the fire. Instead of coming at him again, the monster decides to retreat, but Lin isn't the type to just let it slide. With a flash, he charges after it. Catching up, Lin slams into its back, making it scream in pain. Despite the creature retaliating, Lin digs his claws deep into its skin and pins it down to the ground. The monster tries to shoot out its frosty beam, but against Lin's rage form, it's useless. With pure fury, Lin presses harder into its body, burning it to a crisp. Finally calming down, Lin realizes the creature might actually be dead, but he also notices he might have used way too much of his power. Exhausted, he collapses unconscious, while System Mommy sighs in annoyance, already preparing to clean up after his mess again. Meanwhile, in the Dragon Team conference room, Zhang briefs everyone that headquarters is now very interested in the lizard creature that took down the T-Rex, and they want to capture it. Lai leans in and asks if Lu has decided to tell him the truth. To his shock, she stands up and reveals that she knows this creature has saved them multiple times and has never shown aggression toward them. Lai backs her up, vouching that it really has helped them a lot. However, one team member opposes it, arguing that mutated creatures are too unpredictable and can never be trusted. For this, Lu suggests tracking it without capturing it, but the opposition guy still doesn't see the point. So she slams down the level 2 suit sword, claiming it was thanks to that mutated creature who, somehow, seems to know exactly what they need. The guy agrees with her, but still insists they report to headquarters, claiming strange things like this are happening all over the world. Lu, agreeing, leaves to meet Zhang, but deep down she knows this is all she can do for Lin for now. Back in the water, Lin wakes up after a good night's sleep. System Mommy, however, is exhausted from all this chaos. Lin just brushes her off, which only annoys her more, so she points at the monster fish corpse and tells him to hurry up and eat it since it smells terrible. As Lin devours it, he suddenly gets the mythical iron scale skill, and right after that, a purple orb appears above his head, transforming his entire body. Immediately, Lin feels much stronger, and his defensive sturdiness shoots way up. On top of that, he also receives a hidden reward that lets him merge his skills. Of course, our boy wastes no time and merges them instantly, gaining a buff to his mythical iron scale that lets him return 1% of the damage back to his enemy. He's excited at first, but then realizes it's only 1%. Still, he brushes it off as it's better than nothing. While he's busy admiring his new power, Lin suddenly notices the city river's water level is rising, and it's coming from the hole where he fought that monster earlier. Realizing it might hold more treasures, Lin dives right in. But as he goes deeper, he's shocked at how pitch black it is down there. Even so, he keeps diving further and further, only to be stunned when he touches the wall and realizes the entire tunnel is made of metal. Suddenly, tiny specks of light begin to flicker in the distance, appearing one by one until a massive constellation forms in the deep. Lin squints, already sensing the vibe, and realizes those aren't stars. They're a massive swarm of mutated dragon creatures charging him with some serious rage-bait energy. Instead of playing defense, Lin takes the initiative and launches himself into them like a bullet. He weaves through the crowd of hundreds of these creatures with cold precision, with his claws doing most of the talking. Almost instantly, the water turns a deep, suffocating red as the heavy scent of blood fills the area. One of the creatures, seeing its leader about to get wrecked, puffs up its cheeks and fires a massive blast of ice energy. Lin sees it coming from a mile away, grins, and counters with a torrent of lava straight from his mouth. The heat completely neutralizes the ice, leaving the creature as a well-done steak sinking into the depths. Without missing a beat, he grabs the stragglers by the neck, ignores their screams, and snaps them one by one until the water finally goes quiet again. Just then, a system alert pings in his head, confirming he just banked 80,000 evolution points from the mutated Tier 3 axolotl fish. Linen's eyes light up with the thrill of the hunt, and he immediately pushes deeper into the water, hungry for the next big score. As he swims forward, a sudden beam of light bursts through a crack in the rock and nearly blinds him. Once his eyes adjust, he moves in to investigate the source. The deep, steady noise of machinery vibrates through the water, and light traces along curved lines that lead into a massive hidden structure. Lin freezes, completely stunned by the scale of it. The whole facility is incredibly advanced and running perfectly fine at the bottom of the lake, like no rust, no damage, just fully operational ancient tech sitting there like it's no big deal. The system mommy presses her ear against the wall and knocks a few times, confirming that something is definitely locked up behind the iron barriers inside. That knot of unease in Lin's chest finally makes sense. A place built specifically for confinement and surveillance doesn't just exist for the aesthetic. Someone or something put a lot of effort into building this. He and the system mommy lock eyes and reach the same conclusion at the exact same moment that they are standing in the ruins of an ancient civilization. Looking down, they spot a colossal white skeleton resting on the seabed. Whatever creature that was must have been an absolute unit in its prime. Lin studies the bones and notices something off about one section. But before he can wrap his head around it, the machinery around them clanks and starts back to life. Lin starts connecting the dots to those two ETS figures that had been hanging around pond. It's obvious now that whatever they were hunting for is buried right here, meaning their sightings near the pond weren't random at all. Its particular makes him pull up. Inside is a massive dinosaur-looking beast, a giant flame croc that's literally taller than a building. The system just shrugs and lists its combat power as 0, which is a huge red flag. Luckily, the thing is still catching some serious Z's, so Lin decides to leave it alone and keep it moving. No point in poking a giant sleeping dino when you've got work to do. As he's scanning the rest of the vats, something starts to feel totally off. He spots two tanks that clearly housed awakened creatures, but he only threw hands with one of them in the water. He shoots the system mommy a "what's the deal" look, and she just points her finger upward. It clicks for Lin instantly that the decaying corpses he passed in the hallways were likely the victims of the mutated hexagonal dragonfish that had broken out earlier. It also explains why the ETS aren't just flipping the wake-up switch on everyone at once. If all these monsters got let out at the same time, they'd just turn the place into a mosh pit and destroy each other. They keep grinding until they hit a thick sealed door with level 1 labeled on it. Lin gives it a little tap and can tell by the sound alone that this thing is built different. It's seriously dense. He thinks back to the Dragon Mountain ruins and realizes they didn't have anything this high security. Whatever is sitting behind that door in this pond is probably a Tier 1 nightmare. Just another layer of mystery stacked on top of an already weird day. Standing in front of the door, Lin starts getting into his head about the big picture that whoever built this wasn't human. The green fighter guys definitely didn't have the brain cells for this level of tech. It had to be something way more advanced. The second that thought hits him, he gets hit with this heavy wave of deep personal resentment that he can't really explain. Even after dying once and coming back, this feeling just sticks to him like glue. The system mommy notices his vibe shift and asks what's up, but Lin just sighs and says it's some baggage he can't escape from. The emo moment gets cut short when a sharp crack echoes through the silence. Lin snaps back to reality and sees dark energy leaking out of a tank. The system identifies the inhabitant as a Tier 3 mutated piranha fish. Lin goes full aggro, driving his claws into the tank to try and break it before the fish can get out. But he might as well be scratching a diamond. The tank is completely untouchable from the outside. Inside the glass, a pair of golden eyes snap open. The creature starts headbutting the walls like a maniac until the glass finally shatters outward. The second it's free, it launches itself at Lin and chomps down on his tail, looking absolutely fuming. But honestly, the damage is basically 0. Lin is genuinely unimpressed by the little guy, so he just whips his tail and sends the fish flying. It bounces off the other tanks like a pinball and hits the floor. Knocked out cold, Lin just walks over, picks it up by the tail, and eats it. Easy 70,000 evolution points. He notes that the meat is surprisingly soft and actually pretty fire. He's still enjoying his snack when another cracking sound rings out. Both he and the mermaid mommy spin around, and Lin is officially puzzled. His own top-tier claws couldn't even scratch the glass, but now these tanks are breaking on their own? He wonders if it's the creature's bones, but the mermaid points out that a piranha's bones aren't hard enough for that math to work. Lin thinks back to that metal orb from the mountain. If some kind of signal is stimulating these things to wake up, the cracking makes sense, but the piranha was still too weak to bust through. Then the mermaid drops a crazy theory that maybe Lin is the trigger. Maybe his presence is being picked up by the facility, and the creatures are waking up because he's there. Lin looks at her, points at himself, and is totally shocked for a second. But the more he thinks about it, the more it makes sense. Lin holds out his hand and summons a small flame in his palm, staring at the cracked tank while the gears in his head finally start turning. It clicks that the creatures aren't just sensing another monster, they are reacting to him specifically. Not wanting to stick around for the surprise party that's about to break out of those vats, he pulls up his system menu, hits the teleport button, and watches as a ring of light wraps around him in the system. In the blink of an eye, they're gone, leaving the creepy ruins far behind. They reappear at Hualong Pond, where Lin takes a second to process the massive headache these ruins are becoming. The location is a total nightmare because it's sitting right under a spot where people are constantly hanging out. While he's brooding underwater, he hears a man on the railing above telling his daughter that the pond has spiritual energy, and that praying to the Dragon King there brings him good luck. Lin hears the whole thing and just freezes with a totally blank face, while the system loses it and starts laughing her head off at him. The Dragon King talk actually reminds him of one of his own skills, and when he checks his system menu, he finally realizes what his auspicious guardian skill actually does. It turns out he really is the source of the good vibes, which is cool and all, but it brings up a scary thought that if his presence is that strong, he might be the one accidentally waking up the monsters in the ruins. He starts spiraling, wondering if he should just pack his bags and leave to save the town, but the system reminds him that he's just guessing and doesn't exactly have a backup apartment. He sighs, admitting he's just traumatized from the mountain mess and doesn't want a sequel. Just as he's stressing out, the system drops a brand new quest notification with a super difficult tag. The mission is to swallow a Tier 5 mutated seal. The prize is a pink treasure chest, and as soon as Lin sees that, all his worries get tossed into the back seat. Meanwhile, out at sea, a fisherman and his daughter are having the most wholesome day ever, pulling in a massive haul of fish and chatting about dinner. It's a total dad of the year moment until the little girl's face goes pale and she points behind him. Massive tentacles erupt from the water and start wrapping around the boat like a nightmare. The dad grabs an iron bar and tells his kid to go get in the boat, but before she can even get back out, a tentacle snatches her right out of the cabin. The dad is paralyzed with shock as his daughter dangles in the air, and then a second tentacle grabs him too. He's pretty sure they're toast until Lin explodes out of the water like a boss. He blows the tentacles apart with a massive hit, catches the girl midair, and lands her safely on the deck. The monster is so terrified by the sheer power of the attack that it lets go of everything and retreats back into the deep. Lin jumps back into the ocean immediately, leaving the water completely calm. The daughter just hugs her dad, laughing and crying while telling him that a real dragon just saved their lives. Underwater, Lincoln watches the tentacles retreat into the depths and gets hit with some major déjà vu. The way that thing moved and the aggressive vibe of the attack feels way too familiar, like a memory he can't quite put his finger on. Because the feeling is so strong, he doesn't waste a second. He rockets back toward the surface and guns it for the fishing boat at full speed. The system mommy is left trailing behind, totally confused, shouting to ask where he's going, but Lincoln just tells her he'll explain the lore later before disappearing into the distance. On the boat, the father and daughter are barely catching their breath when the deck suddenly lurches. The boat starts moving forward on its own, which is terrifying considering the engine is dead and nobody is at the wheel. The little girl starts crying again, thinking the monster is back for round 2, but the dad runs to the stern and sees Lin back there, literally shoulder pressing the entire boat toward the shore. The relief is instant. He tells his daughter it's all good. Their Dragon King came back to make sure they got home safe. Lin pushes them until they're in shallow, safe waters, then slows down to a stop. He surfaces a bit to see the girl waving her arms and shouting thanks, while the fisherman is just speechless. Lin is low-key loving the wholesome moment, but since he's trying to keep things on the down low, he gives them a "don't post this on TikTok" gesture before dipping back under. The system mommy, catching up, starts teasing him about being a good boy dragon, and Lin just puffs out his chest, looking 0% embarrassed and 100% proud. Once the humans are safe, the duo heads back to the scene of the crime to scout for the monster. Going down, the system mommy calls him out, asking if he's actually scared. He doesn't even try to act tough as a memory of a past scrap with a giant crab flashes through his head, reminding him of the time he almost got turned into seafood himself. He tells her straight up that yeah, he's a bit spooked. He's powerful, but at those extreme depths, his teleport skill, the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card, is a total no-go. The system mommy is totally chill about it and suggests they just pivot to the mutated sea loach quest instead. Lin agrees that sounds like a much better plan and starts swimming upward. But he doesn't even get 5 feet before the tentacles explode out of the darkness. They wrap around his entire body in a massive ambush, stopping him dead in his tracks. He looks down and sees a nightmare fuel set of teeth emerging from the center of the mass, dragging him slowly into the forbidden snack zone. Lin doesn't panic though. He immediately triggers his iron scales skill to shred his way out. The scales do their job and rip the tentacles to pieces, but the celebration lasts for about 2 seconds. New tentacles grow back almost instantly, coiling around him like the creature has infinite lives. Realizing he needs a different strat, Lin gathers all his energy and fires off a massive pillar of lava-hot flames right into the mass. The water temp spikes instantly, and the smell of cooked calamari starts drifting through the ocean. Being the absolute legend he is, Lin actually reaches out, grabs a piece of a charred tentacle, and takes a bite right there. His review is that it's hot, crispy, and honestly not bad, but it definitely needs some salt and pepper. After dodging the tentacles, Lin guns it upward to get a better look at the battlefield. And honestly, the scale of it is just wild. This creature's tentacles are spreading across a massive chunk of the ocean like some kind of deep-sea net. He goes into beast mode, slashing with his claws and pushing his limits, but then the scene shifts into something straight out of a horror movie. The full form of the monster finally comes into view, and it's a Tier 5 mutated red king crab that is literally 100 times bigger than a killer whale. As if that wasn't enough of a nope situation, right on top of it sits a giant octopus with glowing neon blue eyes. Looking at the two of them from where Lin and the System Mommy are floating, they basically look like tiny specks of dust next to these absolute units. The creature lets out a roar that literally shakes the ocean floor, making sure everyone knows who the boss is. Lin doesn't even bother thinking and just shoots forward like a rocket. He decides the best move is to just Leroy Jenkins it, attacking fast and figuring out the mechanics as he goes. He charges in with a flash of red energy aimed right at the tentacles, which start thrashing from every direction to trap him in a deadly hug. Normally, getting out of that would be a game over moment, but Lin just explodes through the encirclement with sheer force and bursts out the other side. He rushes the giant crab, claws out, planning to use his speed to outplay something that clearly skipped leg day but has way more raw power. Just as he's about to make his move, a fireball literally spawns in front of his face. The giant crab is breathing fire, which is a weird flex for an underwater creature. Lin freezes for a second, not because he's scared, but because the fire looks way too familiar. He realizes with total shock that it's his own Crimson Flame technique being thrown back at him. The creature basically hit him with a copy-paste. This triggers a random memory of his wife doing deep dive research on octopuses. She told him they have 3 hearts, 9 brains, and mini-brains in each tentacle, making them some of the most advanced life forms on the planet. Lincoln asked why they hadn't taken over the world yet, and she explained they have short lifespans and don't pass on knowledge, so all that genius dies with them. In typical Lin fashion, he'd listened to all that fascinating science and immediately suggested grilled octopus for dinner. Back in the fight, Lin shakes off the surprise and locks back in. He realizes the fire breathing is coming from the crab's mouth, but his detection system reveals the real twist that the octopus isn't just a passenger, it's a puppet master, directing every single move the crab makes like it's piloting a giant armored mech suit. He decides it's time to go all in anyway, gathering golden energy into his claws and charging the crab head-on. The collision creates a shockwave that sends pressure waves and red sparks rippling through the water. His claws dig into the crab's rock-hard shell and the monster claps back. Getting pushed, Lin steps back with a totally unimpressed look on his face. He's figured out the catch. The crab is only mimicking the surface-level stuff. Lin's trash-talking seems to have hit a nerve, because the crab goes absolutely feral and charges at him like it's ready to end the server right then and there. Lin stays cool though because he's busy testing a theory. He's betting that the octopus's insane regeneration doesn't actually extend to the crab it's piloting. He waits until that massive claw is inches from his face before surging with red energy and flipping the entire mountain-sized crab like it's made of cardboard. With the crab grounded, Lin goes into absolute overdrive. He starts slicing through tentacles and sweeping violent arcs, turning the water into a literal bloodbath. He dares the creature to try regenerating now that he's really bringing the heat. The crab tries to clap back, first spitting out weird purple bubbles that just pop uselessly against Lin, and then doubling down on the fire breathing. It fills the water with flames, but that's basically Lin's home turf. He swims through the wall of fire like he's taking a stroll, literally laughing at the fact that this thing thought his own signature move would work on him. Realizing its copy-paste strategy is a total fail, the crab starts shifting its eyes, clearly trying to download a new plan. But Lin doesn't give it the chance. He lunges in, grabs the octopus by a tentacle and rips it clean off its mount. The second the pilot is disconnected, the crab's eyes go dim and dull. It just starts slowly drifting toward the bottom, revealing it was nothing more than a hollowed-out puppet the whole time. The octopus, now solo and looking very vulnerable, takes one look at Lin and decides it's time to speedrun and escape. It books it into the darkness with all 8 legs, and Lin is right on its tail, slashing away and gaining ground fast. Just as he's about to finish the job, the System Mommy pulls him back, reminding him that his berserk mode is on a timer, and he shouldn't waste his energy chasing a runner. Lin slows down and watches the octopus vanish, feeling a bit uneasy about the whole thing. The fact that this thing can hijack other monsters and learn skills means that the next time they meet, it could be piloting something even more broken. The system mommy, totally over the drama, tells him to stop being main character levels of moody and go find something to eat. Lin sighs dramatically, looking like he's mourning a lost rival, while the mermaid just stares at him like he's lost his marbles. Suddenly, a system notification pings. Super difficult quest completed. Swallow a tier 5 mutated red king crab. The reward is a random skill, and Lin perks up immediately, his mind going straight to the most over-the-top ideas, like a Gatling gun that shoots blue fire. But when he opens the reward chest, a little light flies into his mouth before he can even read the description. The skill is called Heaven's Luck, and it's a passive ability that lets him understand and mimic any language, human, monster, or otherwise. Lin's eyes go wide as he realizes the potential that this isn't just about talking to fish. If he can decode any language, he can finally figure out what the ETS beings are actually saying. Hyped up by the possibilities, he doesn't even wait for a second before swimming off to put his new linguistics degree to the test. The system mommy asks where he thinks he's going, and Lin drops the news that he's planning a little break-in at the Dragon Team's laboratory. Meanwhile, over at a lab in the city, our old scientist is doing his nightly rounds when he spots his star student Luo, still grinding at her workstation. She's deep in the zone, hunched over a microscope and scribbling notes on how to boost the GL virus's activity through cultivation. Her mentor tries to tell her it's a lost cause, but Luo isn't having it. She's convinced that making the virus safer through cultivation is the only way to save lives without the lethality of high-concentration injections. The mentor realizes there's no stopping her, so he just sighs and heads out, leaving her to her research. Back at the mission, Lin actually goes through with his crazy plan to infiltrate the facility. His disguise is a cleaner's uniform that is way too small for him, making every movement look awkward and uncomfortable. He's clearly hating life right now, but he grabs a broom as a prop and starts prowling the corridors, trying to use the system to sniff out the ET's location. Unfortunately, the building's shielding is a total mood killer, making the mermaid's detection signal weak and basically useless. He hasn't even made it 10 meters down the hall before a voice commands him to stop. Lin turns around and realizes he's been caught red-handed by his own girlfriend Luo, who is still working late. She's got her gun raised and isn't buying the cleaner act for a second. Nobody that jacked is working the night shift with a broom. She tells him to put his hands up and turn around slowly. The second Lin turns around and Luo sees his face, the whole world just stops. She recognizes him instantly. The person she's been desperately searching for is standing right there in a tiny uniform holding a broom. Her hand starts shaking so hard the gun just drops to the floor, and she starts tearing up before she can even get a word out, whispering his name like she's seeing a ghost. The emotional reunion lasts for about 2 seconds before the sound of heavy boots hitting the pavement breaks the spell. Ludo remembers she already alerted security, so she grabs Lin's hand and they start booking it down the corridor just as the team arrives to find a totally empty hallway. The duo ducks into a side room, hiding in a dark corner with their hearts racing. The mermaid is so spooked she's actually clinging to Lin, even though she's a system entity and completely invisible to everyone. Lin has to whisper at her to chill out since she's the only one not in danger of getting arrested. Just as the security team is right outside the door, the mermaid's hair brushes against Lin's nose, triggering a mission failed level sneeze. Ludo sees the sneeze coming, thinks fast, and pulls him into a kiss to shut him up. It's so effective it completely resets his brain and the sneeze vanishes. Security checks the room, sees nothing, and moves on to the next area. Once the coast is clear, Ludo pulls back and starts firing off questions. What is he doing there? Why the fit? And what is he actually hiding? Lin starts trying to explain the whole talking to ET's plan, but before he can even get a full sentence out, a sharp, white-hot pain rips through his body. He feels like he's being torn apart from the inside out, and the system mommy delivers the bad news that his human form has a 5-minute limit, and the clock just hit 0. He is basically running on fumes at this point, barely able to keep his human legs under him. So he looks Ludo in the eye for one final, heavy moment. He tells her straight up that no matter what crazy form he takes in the future, he'd never hurt her and he's staying true to his own code. After a final kiss that carries all that its complicated energy, he hits a pressure point on her neck to knock her out cold before she can see him turn back into a monster. The system mommy is low-key judging him, asking why he didn't just spill the beans, but Lin gently leans Ludo against the wall and explains the harsh reality that if the dragon team finds out what he is, they'll treat him like a lab rat, and Ludo wouldn't be able to stop them. He brushes the hair out of her face, promising himself he'll come back when he's finally strong enough to protect them both, and then he and the mermaid ghost the building. While Ludo is out for the count, her body starts doing some seriously weird stuff. A wave of energy ripples through her, feeling uncomfortable for a second before it clicks into place and goes quiet. When she finally opens her eyes, Lin is long gone, but she feels like she just got a permanent buff. Her body feels lighter, her senses are dialed up, and she realized the GL virus she was researching just had a massive activity spike. She puts 2 and 2 together, realizing that Kiss was basically a high-level power transfer. giving her the answers she was looking for in the most unexpected way possible. Fast forward to the next day, and a newly powered-up Luo is standing at the entrance of an ancient relic site with her mentor and Lie. They're both being protective older brother types, warning her that the tech inside is insane, and that the mission is basically a suicide run. Luo doesn't even flinch. She just stares at the entrance with total main character energy and tells them not to sweat it. Her mentor watches her go, secretly hoping she's the one to finally snag the supreme control key that's been ghosting everyone who enters. As soon as she steps inside, a giant system panel spawns in front of her with a massive boom, looking like a video game loadout screen. It offers her a choice of weapons, and while the pistol looks okay, she decides to go big or go home, grabbing a giant axe that's perfect for both smashing and blocking. The second her fingers wrap around the handle, the system locks in her choice and announces that the challenge is officially live. Almost instantly, a red magic circle starts sniping at her with lasers, forming a deadly net that blocks her path. Lu then doesn't panic though. She uses all those years of training to pull off a high-stakes gymnastic move, leaping through a tiny gap in the laser grid and landing perfectly on the other side. For a second, she thinks she's got this in the bag, but the relic site isn't playing fair. The ground she lands on is actually a pile of loose coal that starts sparking and shifting immediately. The floor gives way, dropping her into a dark pit, but Lua has those cat-like reflexes now. She hooks the edge of the platform with her axe, stops her fall, and hauls herself back up like a pro. She's barely done dusting herself off when the air clears to reveal a massive ancient sword dragon covered in heavy scales. Being totally alone with a giant lizard is definitely a vibe, but Lue keeps her head and starts scouting for a weak spot. She clocks its belly as the target, leaps high into the air, and swings her axe with everything she's got. The axe lets out a beam of energy, but the sword dragon is way faster than it looks, blocking the hit with its head. The impact is like hitting a brick wall at 60 miles per hour. Lue gets tossed backwards, slams into the wall, and lands flat on her face right at the creature's feet. Lue forces herself back up, using the giant axe like a crutch while gritting her teeth, because she's not about to take an L here. The sword dragon winds up its massive tail for a hit that looks like it could level a building, but Lue pulls a total pro gamer move and grabs the tail directly, hanging on for dear life as the creature thrashes around like a mechanical bull. She uses the creature's own momentum to launch herself upward, her axe blazing with energy. In one fluid motion, she sprints right up the dragon's back, running across those massive scales like it's a track meet. The sword dragon is so huge it can't even reach her to shake her off, no matter how much it stomps and roars. Reaching the top of its head, Lue taps into that weird energy reservoir Lin left her and pours every bit of it into the axe. She brings the blade down in an earth-shaking blow right on the creature's skull, leaving a glowing line across its head. He's salty that his high-stakes lab break-in ended with zero intel despite his new language skills, and he even snaps at the system mommy when she tries to look on the bright side. Things get even more awkward when Lin accidentally bumps into her, and she responds with a slap that sends him spinning through the water. He tries to pull the "you're just a system" card, but she just ghosts him and turns away, making him realize she's becoming way more human than he expected. He's still dazed from the slap when he notices a giant mutated sea clam creeping up behind him, snatching a smaller fish with its black tentacles. The crocodile tilts its head back, lets out a deafening roar, and lunges. Its spiked tail comes swinging in like a massive blade, but Lin parries it with his own tail. The collision creates a shockwave that rattles the corridor with a heavy boom. He doesn't let up, swinging back and smacking the croc so hard it goes flying into a row of experimental tanks. The resulting chain of explosions lights up the room like a 4th of July show before the area settles into thick, heavy smoke. Lin waits for the smoke to clear, but instead, a set of razor-sharp teeth rushes out at him, eyes glowing like high beams. The crocodile has coated its entire body in a purple-red demonic fire, which is a pretty flashy move. Lin is surprised for a second, but he's fought too many bosses to lose his cool now. He fires up his own flames, turning the hallway into a pressure cooker, and the two elemental attacks collide in a massive blast. Flames intertwine and smoke fills the air, making the whole fight look like a chaotic blur from the outside. When the dust finally settles, they're back to the staring contest. But Lin is ready to escalate. He builds up energy until black electrical sparks start dancing across his skin, gathering all that power into his palms for a head-on charge. One glowing purple, the other blazing red. They clash in a power struggle that initially looks like a draw, until Lin starts gaining ground. He seizes the opening and slams a heavy hit right into the crocodile's dome, leaving the beast looking genuinely dizzy and seeing stars. Thinking he's got the finisher ready, Lin activates his corrosive claws, with green light swirling around his fingers. He targets the head, waiting for the killing blow to land. 1 second passes, then 3, and nothing. The crocodile doesn't even flinch. It just looks back at him with a totally unimpressed expression. Lin is shocked that this thing's skin is way thicker than it has any right to be. He refuses to take the L, though, and starts spinning in place until he's a literal underwater vortex, launching himself like a drill with his whirlwind corrosive claws. The crocodile just catches the attack with one hand, It's as casual as someone catching a slow-tossed ball. Lin's brain stalls for a second. A tank that big moving with reflexes that sharp is a total cheat code. Realizing his front-on attacks are useless, he swims around the back and bites down on a weak spot near the arm. But it's like biting a brick. The crocodile just swats him away, sending him tumbling several meters through the water. Before Lin can even recover, the crocodile is back on the offensive, charging with its jaws wide open like a biological trash compactor. Lin shoots his hands up, grabbing the upper jaw to keep those teeth from snapping shut, and immediately triggers his iron scales. Sharp golden spikes erupt all over his body, piercing the sensitive roof of the crocodile's mouth and forcing the beast to back off in a hurry. Lin just shoots at a look of pure rage, deciding that the warm-up is officially over. He taps into Super Berserk mode, and the transformation is straight out of a horror movie. Flames explode around him, his muscles swell to twice their size, and black and red electrical sparks start dancing across his skin. The crocodile blinks, and suddenly Lin is just gone. While the beast is looking around for its target, Lin rockets up from below and sinks his teeth deep into its hide. The crocodile screams, trying to flush him out with its own blue flames, but Lin just laughs it off. He lets the fire spread across the croc's skin before pulling back just enough to start a high-speed beatdown, hammering the same wound with fire punches so fast his arms leave after images in the water. Once the chest is charred and leaking dark red fluid, Lin thrusts both hands into the opening and rips the massive beast completely in half. Lin stands in the middle of the bloody mess, his eyes still glowing a cold, predatory red. As things settle down, he casually grabs a chunk of the crocodile's meat for a taste test. His review is that it's not bad, tastes like crispy chicken, though it's a bit of a workout for his jaw. He's already making a mental note to upgrade his teeth for better snacking. His meal is interrupted by a weird noise behind him. The noise is coming from behind door L1, that fixed sealed entrance he and the system mommy had noped away from earlier. Curiosity gets the better of him, so he swims over and tries to pull the door open just a crack. Big mistake. The second it budges, a water-based attack and a wave of pure endgame boss energy shoot out. Every survival instinct he has screams at him to get out, and he slams the door shut just as a massive impact thunders against the other side, shaking the entire facility. Lin is genuinely shocked. He estimates whatever is behind that door has a combat power of at least 2,000. He makes a silent vow to come back when he's actually leveled up, but for now he's taking the hint and walking away. He pulls up his stats to see how the grind went, and the numbers are looking juicy. He's officially a level 39 one-horned fire dragon with a base combat power of 1,000, but the real headline is the 400,000 evolution points he just banked. The system mommy rushes over, acting like they just won the lottery together. But Lin gives her a dry look and reminds her that she was basically AFK during the actual life-or-death struggle. She just brushes it off with a don't worry about the details vibe, and Lin decides to just ignore it and get to work. He dumps 70,000 points into his next evolution, feeling the energy surge through him as he prepares for the level 40 transformation. Meanwhile, over at the Dragon Team's lab, the mood is way less celebratory. Researchers are staring at monitors showing the total chaos happening at the mountain. Trees are warping into weird, twisted shapes. Flowers with literal eyes are sprouting from the dirt, and the local wildlife has gone full aggro, attacking anything that breathes. A blonde scientist throws out a theory that the ET's arrival triggered some kind of massive environmental mutation. They're realizing that the mountain isn't just a site anymore, it's becoming a whole new dangerous ecosystem. While the lab team is busy geeking out over the data, Oldie walks in and immediately steals the show. He points out that the source power in the area is off the charts, which naturally leaves the researcher with glasses totally lost. Luo breaks it down in plain English. Source power is basically high-grade cosmic energy from the deep universe that acts as the fuel for anyone evolving with the GT virus. It turns out the Dragon Team has been trying to figure out how to help soldiers soak up this energy from the air for ages, but it's been a total grind with barely any results. The only way to actually level up fast is to find a hotspot where the environmental source power is concentrated enough to do the heavy lifting. Sitting in the corner and soaking all of this in, Luo suddenly gets hit with a massive realization. The second the oldie mentions absorbing power through direct contact, her brain short-circuits back to that storage room kiss with Lin. Her face goes bright red and she has to hide behind her hand, because she's finally connecting the dots between her miraculous power boost and that specific moment. Just as she's about to share her thoughts on cultivating this energy, a loud alarm kills the vibe. Headquarters sends over a report featuring footage of Lin's recent lab break-in. Luo recognizes him instantly, and her heart sinks. She's terrified that he doesn't realize he's already been caught on 4K. The armored soldiers in the room start connecting more dots, noting that this specific creature has been on a tear, eating mutated earthworms and tyrant dragons while tossing around members of the organization. Analysts have even noticed a pattern. Every time this beast shows up near the pond, the source power density spikes. The researcher with glasses notes it's almost like the creature is on their side, especially since it's been sparing soldiers' lives. While some of the scientists wonder if it has human-level intelligence or a civilian pilot, one researcher gets a greedy look in his eye, and suggests they just capture and dissect it to see how it works. Luo immediately shuts that down with an intensity that catches everyone off guard. She pivots fast, claiming she's made a breakthrough in source power cultivation and needs a high-density spot like the pond to test it out. She proposes sealing off the pond and keeping the creature there as a live generator for her experiments. The Oldie think it's a brilliant move since they need stronger soldiers to deal with the ET threat, and the plan is greenlit. Luo finally lets out a breath of relief. Linge is safe for now and she's got a front-row seat to figure out their connection. As the meeting winds down, an operator pulls up the global ranking of mutated creatures, which is basically the most wanted list for the monster world. At the very top is the Dark Octopus, an SS-level threat over 300 meters long, chilling in the deepest parts of the ocean. It's been a legend since 1999 when it started eating submarines in the Bermuda Triangle, but luckily it's still dormant. Second place is the Golden Flame Demon Bird, an SS-level nightmare that burns at $2,000 and once turned an entire city to ash. Luo is relieved the top tiers are stable, but then the room goes silent as they look at slot 100. A doctor nearly trips over his own feet in shock as a new entry appears, an unnamed B-level amphibious reptile covered in golden flames. The description mentions it eating a tyrant dragon and then vanishing into thin air. The scientists realize it's the exact same creature they were just talking about. Luo breaks into a cold sweat as she looks at the blurry image on the screen. The armored soldier drops a truth bomb that being on the global ranking is basically like putting a giant track me beacon on Lin's back, as every group from the EL organization to rogue hunters will be coming for him. Luo doesn't waste a second and pushes for an immediate lockdown of the pond, acting like it's purely for research but secretly trying to keep her man safe. Teacher vibes with the urgency and agrees to pull the trigger on the report, but before the paperwork even starts, a phone call derails the whole meeting. The soldier's face goes ghost white as he reveals that a massive mutated leg has been spotted sticking out of the mountain. This isn't just an internal leak either. Random civilians caught it on their phones and the images are already breaking the internet. While some researchers try to suggest the classic "it's just CGI for a movie" excuse, the soldier points out that thousands of people saw it in person, especially with the crowds hanging around the Dragon King temple. Oldie teacher finally steps up and silences the panic with a take that's honestly pretty based. He argues that hiding the truth is a losing game because the GT virus is already out in the wild. He believes it's better to let the public gradually adjust to the new monster meta rather than keep playing pretend. The era of keeping mutations a secret is officially dead. Over at the mountain, the scene is total chaos. People are swarming the mountain like it's a tourist attraction, snapping selfies with a giant monster limb and arguing over whether it's a publicity stunt or the actual end of the world. Back at the pond, Lin finally finishes his evolution and feels the power surge, though he's a bit salty that he hasn't hit full Flood Dragon status yet. The system rewards his grind with a purple chest, which spits out a new skill, Corrosive Sharp Teeth. It's basically a toxic bite that can melt through high-level armor, which sounds great until his entire set of teeth literally falls out of his mouth. He goes into a full-blown panic, thinking he just dissolved his own grill, but then brand new gleaming white fangs grow back instantly. He pokes them and realizes they are sharper than ever, which makes him wish he'd had them back when he was wrestling that scarlet crocodile. A quick stat check shows he's now a level 40 one-horned fire dragon, stretching 21 meters and weighing 20 tons with a combat power of 1,000 bows. He's a bit underwhelmed by the small power jump, so he immediately dumps more points into a second evolution to hit level 41. He's now 22 meters long with a 181 combat power, but he's starting to realize the real big leagues probably don't start until level 50. While he's brooding, a phone sinks past him in the water and he catches a glimpse of a news notification about the mountain sighting. He and the system mommy exchange a look, realizing his own evolution might have shaken the mountain hard enough to expose whatever ancient beast was hiding inside. Lin decides he can't just sit this one out. He waits for nightfall and heads for the mountain, but before he can even start scouting, a beam of light streaks across the sky. Classic ET behavior. He fires up his golden glow and follows the trail, eventually spotting an armored vehicle parked in the brush. He ducks behind a rock, assuming it's the Dragon team. But the conversation he eavesdrops on tells a much darker story. The two men, one older and one with brown hair, aren't soldiers. They're talking about a spaceship that's about to land and how they need to prepare a welcome for a high-tier warrior. It clicks for Lin instantly that these guys are ET collaborators, and the guest of honor is a Tier 4 fighter coming in hot from space. Hiding behind his rock, Lin squints at the guys who just hopped out of the armored vehicle and gets a major hit of recognition. One of them is a familiar face who actually tried to catch him lacking and kill him in the past. Lin just smirks to himself, feeling like the tables are about to turn in a very satisfying way. Before he can even make a move, a massive spaceship drops out of the sky, kicking up a mini hurricane as it touches down. A ramp slides out and this figure in full iron armor struts out, looking like a total sci-fi protagonist with a blue glow. The guy is peak arrogant, immediately demanding that the humans kneel before he even says hello. He gets straight to the point, asking if the ancient ruins have been located yet. The older man from the EL organization starts yapping about a relic they found and mentions the giant monster legs sticking out of the mountain. The armored ET is definitely intrigued by the monster news, but he has a weirdly specific to-do list. He tells the humans that once he blows up his own spaceship just to scrub any evidence of his arrival, they're taking him to see this creature. He pulls out a self-destruct button like it's a car remote, and the older man just has to sit there and take it, knowing he's totally outclassed. Lennon, listening from the shadows, starts connecting the dots and gets genuinely heated. It turns out the ET organization is basically treating Earth like a private hunting lodge, waking up monsters just to play big game hunter with them. But the word destroy is what really triggers Lin's fight or flight. He rockets out from behind the rock like a bullet, aiming his sharp teeth right for the blue armored guy's throat. Surprisingly, the ET actually has some reflexes. He sidesteps the ambush and fires back with a volley of ice arrows. Lin's scales ring out like metal as the arrows hit, and he realizes this guy isn't just a cosplayer, he's got actual heat behind his attacks. The blue figure pops a laser sword from his wrist and charges with blinding speed. Lin dodges by a hair's breadth and counters with a tail whip to the stomach that sends the warrior flying into the dirt with a massive boom. The two humans are just standing there, their brains totally lagging behind the action. When the older man finally realizes what's happening, he screams that they're dealing with a flood dragon, looking like he's about to pass out. Meanwhile, the blue figure scrambles up and checks his helmet scanner. When the combat power reading jumps from 1001 to 1012.45, he looks genuinely rattled. He tries the same overhead slash again, but Lin is already bored of that move. Lin erupts into a massive sphere of flames, letting out a roar that shakes the mountain. While the ET is standing there stun-locked for a solid 5 seconds, Lin whips his tail around and sends him flying for round 2. As soon as the ET hits the ground, he tries to swing his sword, but Lin is faster. He slashes his claws into the guy's arm, sending the weapon spinning away, then steps on his chest to pin him down. With glowing red eyes, Lin asks him what the ET organization is actually up to, and why they're treating Earth like a sport-killing safari. The blue warrior is absolutely shocked. He can't wrap his head around the fact that this beast is talking to him and asking logical questions. He decides to play the silent treatment card, but Lin knows that when someone goes quiet like that, it means he's hit the nail on the head. He presses down harder, demanding to know if they're turning the planet into a playground for their master, but the silence tells him everything he needs to know. The blue armored warrior finally cracks, but instead of snitching, he goes full villain monologue mode. He snarls at Lin that it doesn't even matter what he knows because every living thing on Earth is eventually going to be hunted down. That was definitely the wrong move. Before the guy can even finish his sentence, Lin snatches him by the throat with one claw and hoists him into the air like a rag doll. All that ET arrogance evaporates instantly, replaced by pure panic. The guy starts desperately bargaining, offering to help Lin evolve if he just lets him go, clearly thinking Lin is just another power-hungry beast. Lin just repeats the offer back to him slowly, letting the irony sink in, before yeeting the guy into the stratosphere. He follows it up with a massive fireball, making it crystal clear that he doesn't take kindly to being called inferior. When the smoke finally clears, the armored warrior is done for. Lin, being the absolute unit he is, just walks over and starts his post-fight meal. The meat is still sizzling from the fireball, so he has to keep blowing on each piece like he's eating hot pizza while the system notifications start spamming his vision. He's just banked a massive 200,000 evolution points and a purple treasure chest for devouring a tier 4 warrior. Even with a piece of ET still in his mouth, he's rubbing his hands together in excitement, ready to see what kind of loot is waiting inside that chest. Even while celebrating, Lin's internal radar is still pinging. The moment the two guys from the EL organization try to tiptoe away, he takes a deep breath and unleashes a stream of lava-hot fire that drops both of them instantly. They're still breathing, but they're definitely out for the count. Lin thinks about interrogating them, but the plan goes sideways when he sees headlights cutting through the darkness. A convoy is heading straight for the clearing, and he realizes he's out of time. He makes a split-second executive decision. He rips the blue quartz trophy right off the warrior's chest and pockets it before the cavalry arrives. He can't haul an entire spaceship away, but he's satisfied knowing he stopped the ETs from blowing it up. He leaves the ship and the two unconscious henchmen behind as a gift for the newcomers and vanishes into the forest before anyone can get a lock on him. By the time the convoy pulls up, Lin is long gone, leaving behind a scene that looks like a sci-fi movie set gone wrong. Luau steps out of one of the vehicles, her lab coat fluttering as she takes in the sight of an intact alien spaceship just sitting in the woods. It's a total anomaly. Usually ETs are obsessed with their scorched earth policy, destroying every piece of gear so humans can't reverse engineer it. The armored soldier with her is completely baffled, noting that the self-destruct device hasn't even been touched. None of it adds up to them, but Luau's sharp eyes are already scanning the area, looking for the one thing or one person who could have actually pulled off a stunt this big. One of the subordinates finds a remote control lying in the grass and brings it over, but the armored soldier is completely clueless about what he's holding. Luau takes one look at the gadget and casually drops the bombshell that it's most likely the ship's detonation device. That realization sends a wave of panic through the squad. They'd almost started fidgeting with the buttons like it was a TV remote. One subordinate tries to poke holes in her theory, arguing that it makes zero sense for an ET to land with the sole purpose of destroying evidence and then just forget to press the boom button. Luo walks a few steps forward and starts reading the environment like a crime scene investigator. She points out that the ETs didn't just bail, they were jumped. Everyone goes dead silent as she crouches down to show off the traces left behind. Based on the massive marks on the ground, whatever crashed this party was between 10 and 20 meters long, and the specific burn patterns weren't from high-tech laser fire. They were from actual honest-to-God dragon breath. The armored soldier starts looking seriously surprised, realizing that a monster this cracked is roaming the area without being on any of their official reports. To make things even spookier, there are 0 exit footprints, meaning this thing didn't just walk away, it likely took to the skies. Before the vibes can get any heavier, a shout from across the clearing confirms that both the EL organization goons are still alive and kicking. The armored soldier is hyped about the potential intel, and immediately orders the men and the ship to be hauled back to base. Luo stays quiet for a second, letting the chaos swirl around her while her brain finishes connecting the final dots. She eventually pulls the soldier aside and asks him to really look at the evidence, the golden fire, the massive scale, and the oddly heroic outcome of the fight. She lays it out plainly that 2 survivors, 1 intact alien ship, and 0 ETs left to tell the tale. The only logic that fits is that someone, specifically someone who wants to help humanity, intervened to stop the ship from being turned into space dust. In her head, she's already 100% certain that her Dragon King Lin is the one behind the rescue mission. The soldier catches her drift and agrees that the creature is basically acting like an unofficial bodyguard for the planet, but then he hits a massive realization that makes his stomach drop. Looking at the size of the footprints, he remembers the last data they had on the creature put it at around 13 meters. He looks at the fresh marks on the ground, then back at Luo, his face pale with stress. The guy still thinks it might be impossible, but Luo keeps insisting that it is. She clearly knows something. That puts him on edge, and he asks how she knows. Luo quickly backtracks a bit, remembering her moment with Lin, and brushes it off. But deep down, she knows she needs to verify this herself, so she orders everyone to pack up and report back. Meanwhile, our boy Lin is busy with his purple chest reward. As soon as it activates, it starts blasting purple energy everywhere. He gets a super perception passive skill that lets him detect things invisible to the naked eye. He's hyped, and when he tests it out, he's shocked that he can even hear the sound of a leaf falling outside. But while he's geeking out in excitement, a sudden notification sound jump scares him. When he checks it, he sees 8 missions waiting. Realizing that's the limit, he decides to go complete them all. As night falls, an adventurer streamer named Long shows up at the pond to record footage and stream for his fans. He starts the stream showing everyone the river. While they're busy living the streamer life, they suddenly hear a loud noise coming from the water. To their shock, something that looks like a spaceship starts rising. Long, nearly losing it, throws a rock at it. The rock hits Line and he bursts out of the water with a roar so loud it scares the life out of the wannabe streamers. Ignoring them, Line focuses on the weird spaceship arriving and decides to stop it no matter what. With that, he dashes toward it, promising himself that one day he'll be jacked enough to end them all. Meanwhile, back at the lab, the old man is shocked while reading reports about the spaceship's appearance. Just then, Lua walks in and says she wants to discuss origin power cultivation with him. She only has a rough idea for now, but the old man agrees to hear her out and help if he can. After that, she asks to fight on the front lines and help resolve the country's crisis as soon as possible. Deep inside, she hopes Line is thinking the same thing, so they can meet again on the battlefield.